And we are here with the Speed Chess Championship Qualifier. Alongside me, the one and only, my soulmate. Has anyone ever told you that you are like a warm cup of Joe right beside me?
Has anyone ever told you that love is like candy on a shell?
The harder the candy shell, the softer the gooey chocolate on the inside.
I love how you just rolled with
I, I,
it.
I had no idea you were going to say that, just like I have no idea what to expect today, Robert, besides some awesome chess. These are 8 of the most well-known chess personalities as far as the online chess community goes. You've got Danya Naroditsky, you've got the Penguin, the one and only Andrew Tang. We've got Dmitry Andreikin, who just missed out, played very well yesterday in the Title Tuesday. Speaking of which, so did you, by the way. Way to go, buddy. But I look at this and truly feel that while getting into the SEC may have them as a massive underdog, I don't think anybody in this field of 8, Robert, should really consider themselves an underdog at all today. Anybody could win this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And what's interesting for me to note is that players like Alireza Firouzja, who was performing so well in the JSEC and defeated Sam Sevian, who's also playing today, it's not just head-to-head anymore. Of course, they will play individual matchups, but there are also other contenders in the mix, which makes it a little bit more complicated. It's not just, Firouzja beat Sevian in the past, so he'll beat him again. Well, you have to see what the pairings are lining up.
Absolutely. And to start, you can see them right in front of you. Naroditsky will take on Tang. That's the 1-8 matchup as far as how these players rank using Chess.com's Blitz and Bullet ratings. You've got Alireza Firouzja versus Haik Matiriasan. Now, those two guys threw down yesterday and actually drew each other in the Title Tuesday. I believe it was round 5, if I'm not mistaken. I was covering that with the Hammer himself. Andreikin and Sevian, Shant Sargsyan, and Nihal Sarin. So pretty exciting stuff. Remind everybody that while you're watching this, we also, as usual, have a daily question, and this is a fun one today, Robert, because I know we had Fisher Random before, and it was sort of a committee decision. Hey, we're going to remove this sort of random aspect of our Speed Chess Championship matchups, but now with the big burst, I guess, for Chess 960 back on the scene this year, right? FIDE acknowledging the event we've been holding here for a few months now as the first ever Fisher Random World Chess Championship. There's been a lot of discussion to maybe bring that back to the SEC. And then there's the hyper bullet discussion, right? Because for some of us bullet junkies, it's just not even fast or crazy enough. I kind of feel like I know which one you would pick of these two, being the natural chess talent you are who doesn't always love opening theory. I kind of know which one you'd love to have in this format, but I want to know what the fans think. Use the hashtag SpeedChess and let us know. Robert, do you want to tell everybody how much you love Fisher Random Chess? Well,
I love Fisher Random Chess.
And we love HB43 coming through with his donation. He always gets that donation in right before the game starts. It's almost like he should be the gong, the bell that says, send the horses out, open the gates. Here we go. The games are about to begin, I believe. We are 5 after the hour, and I'm expecting liftoff here in just a moment.
If you're sending the horses out, does that mean you just start with a night move?
I've been working on my night moves ever since you and I were forcing pop culture references where they don't belong. So,
Well, I see the games are underway. Which are we going to start with?
Well, I've got Danya Naroditsky up here against Andrew Tang. Of course, we have Dmitry Andreikin moving very quickly here against Sam Sevian. The man, the myth, the legend, Firouzja, who's been knocking on every possible door to try to get into the SEC, Robert. He's the one guy everybody feels like could actually win the whole thing if he gets there, but he's not there yet. Maybe today will be his day. Shant Sargsyan and Nihal Sarin. This first round is going to be nuts. So let me just ask all the fans in advance to forgive us if you're not seeing the game you want. We got 4 games going right now, and it's 3-1 Blitz.
Yep.
I'm getting too old for this bleep. Robert is young enough for it, but I don't even know where to go. So I like the game with Naroditsky. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. I was saying you lead the way. And someone who wants hyper bullet to be a thing is definitely Andrew Tang, because the quicker the time control, the fewer the seconds of increment, he is happy. And right now, with the black pieces in this position against Daniel Naroditsky, I have to imagine that Naroditsky is the happy one here. Yes, both sides have double pawns, but look at the king side, right?
Yep.
The black king is a little bit more exposed thanks to the semi-open G file. And if an F4 push, then maybe an E5 or F5, you can choose your weapon for it as white. And black's massive pawns on the queen side. The A7 pawn's always a target, so watch out for that. And so I like White's chances here.
Yeah, it's one of those positions where if Black could just take the queens off the board and pop this knight into a square like f4, he'd be thrilled, right? White would have these doubled f pawns, and Black would be doing great. But with the queens on the board, the kings on opposite sides, you feel like this is going to be a tough one for Tang. Naroditsky probably eyeing ideas like h4 and h5 to go along with your ideas of maybe f4 and then either e5 or f5. So, all right, we're going to come back to this one quickly. Let's look very, very quickly at the game between Konovitz and Tu Vladimirovich. That, of course, on Draken and Sam Sevian. We've got an English here turned into a reverse sort of dragon Sicilian structure where I prefer the original, Robert. I don't know what you think about this. I prefer the original Sicilians, but this is real chess theory here. I feel like these guys are both sort of reaching into the bag of how do I really play this position?
Yeah, and it just feels so compact, this position. You see, like, the center, these two knights on e4 and c4, the d5, d4 knights. Everything feels like it's hanging and protected at the same time.
Yep.
And I like the last couple moves for Black. I think that Sevian has a better position because look at this target on d3. And knight h6 is a very good move. I was going to say that this knight is kind of awkward on f5 and the pawn's on e3. So it's better off on a different square, opening up bishop to g4 is played. If f3 is played here, look at all of White's pawns.
Yeah.
Rank looking pretty awkward.
Yep. And because of that, he decides he's not even going to allow the pawn to go to f3. I'm about to sneeze, actually, for the first time in a long time. I almost sneezed right there. Did you catch that?
Well, you're sneezing on the truth.
Hey, I'm dealing with a little bit of allergies here. All right. Alireza Firouzja and Mkhitaryan, like we said, they drew their game in Title Tuesday yesterday. This one's messy.
This is weird.
Yeah,
I don't even know what to make of this.
I think I like Alireza's position if he just does the simple thing of trading on c6 and taking e4. But am I wrong that just offers White a bit of an edge and a better pawn structure?
I think that in those lines, because Black's a little bit ahead in development, there will be a more quick development with the bishop on c8 coming out and the d4 pawn needs a bit of defense. But I agree with you. At first glance, I really like White's position. And maybe you ignore the pawn and play for me like knight d5 at the right moment, saying the two bishops advantage and the gain of space is more important than restoring material equality at this given moment.
It depends on the blitz style too, right? I feel like sometimes these decisions are made just based on, like you said, just whatever their instinct flavor of choice is. Like I just like positions with the two bishops, and so I go for a move like knight d5. But Alireza doesn't do that. He plays bishop 4, and in a rare scenario, I guess, is down on time. But we know how fast Haik Matiriasan is. I think if I took more criticism for one player not being invited to the Junior Speed Chess Championship, Robert, it came via Haik Matiriasan. I got a lot of heat from the Armenian chess community for not inviting that young man, and even from you, I think. I think you were unhappy with that decision. That's right. So now maybe Haik will get himself into the Speed Chess Championship, and his journey would start with a victory over Firouzja. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see if Mr. Matiriasan can prove me wrong. I think that Tang might be en route to proving us wrong over here, even though his king is open. And he's under time pressure. I don't know. Something feels like the pieces are really well coordinated. I'm liking time pressure tactics for Black.
Yeah, the problem though is that Black is the only one in time pressure right now. Because
fair.
Naroditsky, in typical Danya fashion, is up half a minute on the clock, and he did this to me 3 times the other day in Arena Kings. He just constantly is making very quick moves, and maybe not making the best moves, making very good moves, and the time advantage allows him to think in critical moments like this, where it looks like, as you said, Black is coordinating well. The B file is now open. Rook B8. Whoa. Isn't Rook B8 knight e6 just devastating?
Rook B8. The idea, everybody, is we have got a long-distance relationship happening on B2 here. No matter where that queen goes, Tang is going to enter with the knight, take on B2 with check, and Danya might be feeling like he grabbed one pawn too many over here with the lady.
That was a bad decision.
Now look at that time pressure dwindling here, and I agree with you. It is one of the things Danya does best, and as somebody I just saw in the chat a few moments ago said, Danya definitely the favorite. Well, that's what the ratings would say as well. He's the 1 seed coming in as far as how we rank these players, the combined Blitz and Bullet. We have one result in the book, a game we didn't get to look too closely at, but Shant Sargsyan has defeated Nihal Sarin. The youngest player in the field is Nihal from India. So
he lost on time. Was he having a bad connection? We didn't see the game much. But
I didn't see the game or the bars, and actually it looks like you may be right. Now that the next game has started, he's on a 1-bar spot here. Somebody get that man a pill so he can boost his connection. All right, let's stay on the narrative. Oh, look at Tang. He's rolling.
Yep, Rook G8 check.
What a blunder this was. And again, everybody, that game really fell apart with the move Queen takes B7 here by Naroditsky. 1 pawn too many and a B file he wishes he never opened. The tactic that Robert Hess cited and called for. I love when you call for tactics. It gets me going. I know I'm going to have a good day. All right. What about the game here? Sam Sevian on Draken.
Whoa, we got an end game with the double pawns for black, but the weak A5 pawn.
Oh, but I got to go to the tactic that was just played by Firouzja to win the queen. Shocks Haik Materiasan with rook takes D8, and if the queen had taken, knight F7 is a fork and a bunch of material. So it looks like Firouzja is going to take down Haik. Sorry about that, buddy. Just saw that tactic. Had to show it.
No, that's a beautiful tactic. I'm glad you pulled it up. And actually, Firouzja did just win. Martirosyan resides, and poor Haik, because that was looking like a very interesting game from start to finish there.
Okay, wow. Well, the only game still going in the first round of play is right where we are locked in here. You can see the scoreboard now. People noticing, what's the deal with the 2 points? Well, guess what? Taking a little bit of a page out of the Grand Chess Tour playbook, we decided that we were going to try our hand in not rewarding draws. The goal of this event is that, okay, we are rewarding more points for a win than we are a draw, right? It's not that we're saying draws don't matter at all. Okay, chess classical is. Calm down. Wait, we got a couple of passed pawns.
It looks like
Sevian is just
7 wins. And I think the format rewards wins in the Blitz time control more than they do the bullet time control, but they're more bullet games. So you can make it up in the bullet, but 2 points for a win in the Blitz chess is going to be difficult to catch up, and especially if you win 2 games, it's 4 points.
That's right. We talked about the format a little bit here. Let's remind everybody of what the prizes are, what they're competing for. We've got a little bit of cash money, homie, being thrown at these players, right? I'm going to do it like this when it comes out. I'm going to go like this. I'm gonna throw it out like that, but of course the ultimate prize of today's event is clearly getting themselves into the main Speed Chess Championship. We will provide a little bit more information on the format here in a moment. I see some people still asking, a little confused by our quick explanation. We'll try to get you a slide or get you a Mubot command on that. But our goal here was to have a little bit of fun, really encouraging the players to play decisive chess in order to move on, which is why a victory earns you 2 points in the first round of play here in the Blitz battles. All right, well, Naroditsky is down here, right? He's down in the scoreboard after losing what was a much better position with white against Andrew Tang. So could we see an 8 over the 1 seed, courtesy of Golden State Warriors led by Baron Davis?
That's a great reference. I'm proud of you for it. But I like Naroditsky's position in this game because he just went B takes C4. And I think Tang was relying on F4 here, but it doesn't work out if a knight D3 check, as after you take on D3 with the bishop, my C pawn takes your bishop, and your queen's under attack on C2 as well. So it looks like Naroditsky, currently up a pawn, can get away with this. Now the queen side is open. Black's king is perfectly safe. This is going to be, I think, a nightmare for Tang.
We'll keep our eye on that one. The game that's furthest along is the one we didn't have a great chance to look at. The matchup that we didn't have a great chance to look at in the previous round. Nihal Sarin is down on the clock. Also looks like he's struggling with a slightly unstable connection there, with 3 bars compared to 4 for Shant. But this game is about as simple as it can be. A big advantage, I guess, for Sargsyan, who's in a position of commanding this match, having already won that first game, right? Even a draw is probably okay for him right now to get the white pieces again.
Yeah, and especially when your opponent has an unstable connection, you just want to get to bullet because you have less time remaining to fix your connection in a bullet game. So Shant Sargsyan here has evened things out with the black pieces. He already won that first game on time. So I think he should just play it safe and maybe just keep it going, because you never know when Nihal's connection will collapse.
Okay, well, this game was the furthest along, but it's probably not going to be the first to finish. Yet again, in the game between Naroditsky and Tang, we've got a huge time advantage for Danya. And he's up the exchange. So I guess your prediction of Naroditsky evening this thing up is looking pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, the one thing he has to watch out for is at the right moment, knight f6 check. Okay, now it's irrelevant because he went g4, and after g4, you can just take on d2 with check and take on e4. He's doing exactly what he's doing now. He's up, what, an exchange? A full exchange.
Full exchange. Should be pretty clear. The reason knight f6 check didn't work, everybody, is because after takes and takes f5, Robert's idea, of course, was to open the king. Would be nice, but bishop takes d2 and queen takes b2 would have been a problem. So yeah, probably this will be a clean conversion here for Naroditsky. The Firouzja game with Haik Materiasan has got my attention because there's a queen on g3, and I think Firouzja knows how to use it. Here comes f4, and can you say bishop takes h3?
I can. Bishop takes h3.
Translates to all languages as lights out.
So f4, there might be knight f6 check as the only saving grace, and that's why he took on d5, but I don't like that decision, Dan. This feels like, with the opposite colored bishop dynamic, I don't know if I would have taken that pawn on d7, but still, the opposite colored bishop dynamic, I think, gives white.
Okay, well, close one here. Let everybody know who may be wondering. We actually have all the players under observation during this match, so they are in a group call with our sort of de facto tournament director, watching everybody on camera, checking in with them, watching, lurking, waiting, judging. A lot like your mother-in-law, just always observing, making notes.
Well, that's I don't even know what to say to that. There's no winning in responding to a comment like that.
That's right. Spoken like a man who wants to have a healthy marriage in future years. That you just passed the first test. Never talk bad about your mother-in-law in front of 2,300 people.
Okay. First step, activated.
Yep, activated. All right, Naroditsky indeed takes down Tang. That means this matchup will be all tied up. The 1 versus 8 seed is going to prove to be a thrilling one, as we expected. We can go anywhere you want this thing to go, buddy.
I like the Firouzja game because Firouzja
like
has
it too.
But Haik has much more time. He's almost a minute up on the clock. It's interesting to see that Firouzja has been getting himself into time trouble. I've noticed that recently, and you don't expect that from the godly speed chess player that he is. But somehow he's getting down the clock.
Well, and again, Blitz is a little bit different than Bullet, and remember, increment is different than sudden death, and we talk about that a lot, which is one of the things we kind of have held our guns to, as much as people want to pull the Band-Aid off and just let it bleed and let these guys lose on time. But we've kind of held a look. We want the chess to matter when there's this much money, frankly, on the line, right? There's a lot of cash in the main SEC with more than 50,000 in prizes. So I think it's important that chess has a say-so because it's already pretty fast and pretty crazy. Look at the format there. And those of you who are wondering, again, it's 2 games of 3+1 and then 4 games of Bullet. As we said, it's 2 points for a victory and 1 for a draw. 4 games of 1-1 are normal chess scoring systems. It's 1 point for win and 0 for a draw. That's right. That's the coolest part about Bullet is if they keep drawing, guess what, Robert? They keep playing. Draw doesn't get you anywhere in this world.
Nice.
Which is a lesson I've been trying to teach my kids. All right. This game here with Haik Materiasan, wasn't there a rook just hanging with check? He just played knight g4.
The rook was hanging with check.
That he played knight g4, and he's just hanging the rook with check, and Firouzja didn't see it.
Well, Firouzja is also in danger of losing on time.
Right, but that was crazy. Oh, man. I love that.
I don't know what to make of this game. It's been a wild affair. Both sides have been struggling in this one, and I think Black on the board.
The game between Nihal Sarin and Shant Sargsyan was a draw. Okay, so 1 point awarded to Shant for that. Nihal Sarin gets on the board with that draw. But again, still a lot of chess ahead. So if you're just getting here, thanks for being here. We're going to find out who the 16th and final player is in the Speed Chess Championship by the end of this day. Okay, I think that Firouzja is going to convert on this one finally. It just took a while, and he takes a commanding lead into the Bullet with a 4-0, right? Victory there.
Yeah, it's a big win for him. And I look at the Konovets-Vladimirovich game because right now it looks like Sevian, who won the first game, that's Konovets, he has these passed pawns on the queen side, but they're kind of locked up because bishop is silly on a6. Or the bishop's stuck there.
Yep.
So can white make any progress, or is it black who's going to try to play c4 at the right moment and make progress that way?
We're about to see a crazy finish in the first bullet game between Danya and Tang over here, with both sides living off the increment already. It looks like Tang is getting the better of this massive exchange that's occurring in the center. The game between Sam Sevian and Andreykin ends in a draw because, as you said, White was kind of stuck there on the queen side with those pawns.
Yep. And I think Sevian would have tried harder to win if he hadn't won the first game, but because he did win that first game, better safe than sorry.
So Sevian takes a 3-1 lead into the bullet portion. This matchup right here, I think, is where most of the fans want us to be, looking at whether Naroditsky has the technique and the increment to convert on this better endgame.
And the reason it's better is look at the F pawns, right? They're double. The H pawn is a pass pawn. So in many of these endgames, you can just push this H pawn to H5, put a knight on F5. The knight is better than the bishop because it can go from color to color. So I'm really liking Naroditsky's chances.
And I'm liking what almost looked like a trap rook there, but not quite. You can play C6, and look at the knight dominate the squares, as you're saying. Just holding everybody back here. Like,
if he gets B5, rook E5 would be mate, but now he traded off the rook, so there's no even thought of that.
Okay, now the question for Naroditsky is, how do you work your way into the C7 pawn? I think he's going to figure out a way to do that. Oh, he just blunders his bishop.
Yep.
Right?
That does the trick, right?
That does the trick. That's how you convert on that endgame. Sean Sargsyan is converting all over Nihal Sarin right now. He is taking a commanding lead, 4-1. Now is the advantage. Let's do a quick reminder on the format. We'll bring that slide up again. Remind everybody we misspoke. It is actually bullet chess is what we said it was. The Bears were who we thought they were, which is 1 point for a win, half a point for a draw, and just like any normal chess match. So really, we placed more emphasis on blitz here by awarding the extra points for the victories in the slower time control. But otherwise, you're looking at a format that should make sense to all of you now, moving forward in bullet.
Can I say I love your Dennis Green reference right there? Well done.
I live for keeping you on your toes.
Well, that's such a famous one. I'm still seated. Don't worry.
The queen on G7 poses problems, and I think that Hike is kind of running into a match here that he can't handle against Firouzja. If he's already down 4-0 after the blitz, I don't know how much ground he can really make up in the bullet here, Robert. This doesn't look good.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. And Firouzja is such a monster that it's, anyone would be worried about facing him, and the king just made it, right? Looks really tough.
There must be some mate with queen H8, followed by rook D8, queen takes F8, queen D6, and knight E7. I called it.
You're the rook sack whisperer.
I'm dropping the mic. Queen D6 and knight E7.
Done.
Hey, you heard it here first. What about Andreykin's opportunity to make a comeback against Sam Sevian?
Wait, isn't Black up a piece?
Black is, I was going to say, he's down a piece and down on the clock, so it's not looking good for a comeback. Ooh, and that's a very nice... Oh, but couldn't he have taken E6 with check?
No, because the knight would have taken back to protect D.
Duh, town.
All right, knight coming to D3 with check now. Knight E to D3 or C to D3. Matter. And
Sam Sevian is flexing here, trying to work his way into the Speed Chess Championship. Tang and Naroditsky. Naroditsky got the first bullet game, but something has gone wrong in this second game here with Tang up almost 30 seconds on the clock and a piece.
Yeah. And this looks really, really bad. Just bishop takes G6 should be winning, but maybe there's some kind of trick available. I don't really see it. He took that. Oh my gosh. Rook A1 check, but there's no follow-up. That's the problem. Queen takes
G2.
No, but you lose a rook on A1.
Your best chance at... you can't even try to catch your opponent in a pre-move, right? When you check the king. That's the problem. So, all right, what about Sarin's game with Sean Sargsyan? If the young man from India makes a comeback, it starts right now. Looks like a tough position.
Yep.
Black holding the pressure, F2, D3, everybody's weak.
And the connection, look at it, 1 bar and about to on time.
Yeah, I was showing a 3-4 bar connection, but you can tell that he's lagging in regards to his connection. So unfortunate for Nihal, but this is likely not going to be his day. I think that Sean has nearly clinched his ticket into the next round. In fact, maybe he has actually. Okay. Well, with Andrew Tang getting the victory against Naroditsky, that means we're definitely in for a photo finish here between these two. I'm keep my eye on the other one. If you wanna shout at me, move a different direction. It's up to you.
I like this game because I just started looking at the bishop on A2 and B2, and that if black goes C4, the problem is then you concede all of these squares on the queen side, right? So black does play C4, then I go bishop C3, rook E to B1, and start attacking your base pawn on the B5 square. So I like Naroditsky's position here, even though he just closed down his bishop on A2. He has so much space. He's got a beautiful bishop on B2, and I don't know. I think you're going to have to worry as black about your queenside pieces. They're very awkward there. Maybe he's going knight b7 to c5. So definitely a possibility, but I just like the option of playing knight to d4, bishop to c3.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's all coming.
The only question is whether black had some sort of tactic with c3 there to try to bring a pin and see if you could do some nasty, but it doesn't look like there was, and I'm expecting Naroditsky to just play bishop c3 now to stop that idea. And then you can bring the other knight from d2 over to f3 at some point. Okay, but this is a little weird, right? I mean, anybody is a step away from a blunder in a funky position like this.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering at some point knight takes b5 and then just after bishop takes a4. Is that possible? I think it's possible. So I would just take on b5, bishop b5, pawn a4. Whoa! Speaking of pins, does that work? Yeah, I guess it does work. Nice. Naroditsky with that quick tactical vision. Yeah, this is looking good for Naro, but knight c5 is a good move as well.
Sevian just took down Andreykin, and he's really on form here to start the day.
Yes.
Up 5-1 in that matchup there.
Monster, Sam Sevian. So where are we going to now?
I'm back on the Naroditsky Tang game as d7 just played, and looks like knight g5 is coming, and with it, all kinds of problems. Oh, look at that nice way to finish the mate. I want it. Where's it going? I don't have one. That was so sweet. I was about to question Naroditsky's decision to not play knight g5, both the move previous and after e4. I was like, what is he waiting for? Why not knight g5? But instead, Naroditsky had a better trick up his sleeve. Queen takes e8, and then rook to d8 mate. So nice way to finish. Let's actually keep the two boards set here and bring up the other one that's about to be wild, the Haik Materiasan versus Alireza Firouzja, and see what's going on there.
Firouzja's up at least, 2 pawns now to make it 3, and the H pawn's about to run. So right now we see that Naroditsky with 4 points against Tang, Penguin GM with 3, and Tang's made his move knight back to f3 there as we were looking. That's kind of odd, but Naroditsky now is going to have to figure out his kingside because that's why Tang retreated the knight, so he could play pawn to h4 and not keep the knight there and trades. And if this attack works out, Tang can even up the score, but I think black is perfectly safe. It's hard to attack with just 1 pawn over there on the king side.
Yeah, and let's bring our attention back to this one then. I think it's where most people want to see the action. Tang is, for the first time in kind of must-win territory now. To clarify again for everybody, the format of the match is a knockout format. So this right here is the only opportunity these players have to move on. This is not an all-play, all-first round. It's designed to be thrilling, exciting, just like the Speed Chess Championship. It's win or go home, and every matchup you have to move on. So the 1-8 matchup that you're seeing between Naroditsky and Tang is for who moves on to the next round. So to make it very clear, the match dynamics are affected directly based on who you're playing. In the Blitz format, if we want to bring up that slide and remind people, it was 2 points for every win and 1 point for a draw, 0 for a loss. In the Bullet, it's 1 point for a win and half a point for a draw. So not really much to it. I know there seems to be some confusion, but it's what you see in front of you is what you get. It's a bracket format with a knockout on the line. You either win or you go home, and if you win, you keep playing and your day continues, along with your opportunity to maybe make it into the Speed Chess Championship. So there you go. That's the summary. Someone clip that, and from now on when people ask, just link that over and over again, that little rant I just gave. There you go. Hashtag you're welcome. Okay. All right, where to go, Robert? I've got the Tang game up because that's where most of the Tang gang want us.
Yeah, we should stay here because that match is 4-3 in Naroditsky's favor, and Tang is just scooped up a pawn on a5. So it wasn't about the kingside attack after all. It's about, look at the pressure. The bishops are really good for white here. At some moment, I would like to play bishop f1 to h3, and that's probably what he's doing by trading off all his pieces.
But he finds a trick to get the queen in first, and now he's going to execute. About to go Marcellus Wallace on these light squares, right?
Yeah,
Get
but
surgical.
you have to be very careful not to knight g5.
Trap your queen almost.
Yeah, the knight g5 is a good move, right?
Knight g5 looks great, actually, and the queen has no squares.
Oh, gosh, look at this comeback.
Look at Naroditsky, though, living off the increment. This is it, right? He's trying to pre-move, but he's worried he can't go full pre-move because Tang could surprise him with something weird.
Queen c2.
Queen c2 would have executed. Oh, but he's got h3, and he's going to pick up the f3 pawn.
Oh, my gosh. Wait, he didn't go queen h3.
Why didn't he go queen h3?
Is
this even better? Knight h3 and queen takes f2 is going to be mate.
Oh, my gosh.
But he gave up the draw.
What just happened? Wait, what was bishop c5?
What is going on here? This has to be a win for black. f3.
Oh, you're right. Well, f3, yeah.
Knight d2 and the other knight comes to f3? I have no idea.
Oh, knight d4 check. I can't figure it out quickly.
Queen e2. Queen e2 was the win. Oh, he's going to trade queens and pick up the bishop.
Can't go queen e2 because the bishop on b5 was there. But now
knight
he got
takes b5 is check.
Oh, my gosh.
He's living with 2 seconds, but he wants mate. Oh, my God. He figured it out. Oh, my God. That may have been the sloppiest conversion of queen and knight since, that episode of Batman. I don't even know. That was weird. That was
so confusing.
So confusing. But that may indeed have punched Naroditsky's ticket into the next round. I don't know for sure. But I know we've already moved on to Haik Materiasan's last stand against Alireza. It looks like one person might be going into the second round with a perfect score. Firouzja mad. Firouzja here to play today, Robert.
Yeah, Firouzja is cruising, right? And so I think Naroditsky just won his matchup because he got to 5 points.
Yeah.
And so he wins his matchup. This is the last game. I think we have all of the winners. Sam Sevian won his match. Shawn Sargsyan won his match. And Alireza has already won, but they're playing this last and final game.
So they will finish the game we have on the table here, but we will update the brackets soon, everybody. The players you see there with the higher score are the ones moving on. Naroditsky and Sevian will meet in the second round, along with Sargsyan versus Alireza Firouzja. So this is going to be crazy. And yes, as Chessbay just said, thank you so much. The players were seeded in these brackets based on their combined Blitz and Bullet average rating. For those wondering why is Tang playing Naroditsky in the first round? Well, frankly, every one of these matchups is potentially a coin flip. I think that a lot of people look at Naroditsky versus Firouzja as the final. But Sevian and Sargsyan will have something to say about that before it's done. We're going to take a very quick break here. I think as this game wraps up, this is a last bullet game, but it's not totally relevant to the overall score. We already know who's moving on. But let's finish this game here, see what kind of excitement we get, and then take a very quick break as we head into round 2. So, Robert, I've seen this structure too many times recently from the Paris Rapid and Blitz, but I don't normally see the king on the queen side here for white, right? Normally,
I don't think you also see white just down a pawn because the f2 pawn was plucked off the board.
Yeah, so this was not Haik's favorite way to play this opening.
Yeah, this is just looking great for Firouzja. He's already up 7-0, and right now he's up a clean pawn. He's got a good bishop now in e3. Of course, what Haik is going to try to do is with c5 and get an attack on with c6. But the queen can land on b5, which is actually very frustrating for Haik to deal with. So even if you get your c5, there's no huge attack, and Firouzja stopped it before it even started with c6.
Okay, well he's somehow making this queenside attack into something real here, right?
So let's see how does that queen b5 hits the rook on f1, so that's an option. Knight e4 he played first. Okay.
Now we may see queen b5.
Yep, I like queen b5 a lot. There's also a knight c3 check idea.
Yeah, I was going to say you can choose to take back on b5 with the pawn or with the knight. Okay, g2 is hanging, and I'm not sure why it can't be taken. Indeed, Firouzja agrees.
Whoa, Okay, so b5 played. And rook takes b5. Where's the rook c7? I guess you have to, but then rook takes b7 check. It's looking scary all of a sudden.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild finish, and maybe Materiasan doesn't take a goose egg for his experience here after all. If he can.
But now it's closed. Now the position's totally
closed. That may not have
closed.
been the best way to keep it open. The bishop on e3 is so irritating. Defends everything for black.
It's one of those positions where you want a knight on b5 to kick the king from its really safe perch on a7.
He's got knight takes b6. Is he taking twice? No, he wants to open the b file in a forcing manner. Rook to b7 check is coming. And then what? I don't know.
Because knight c3 check is the follow-up after you take on g7.
This is a serious threat coming, followed by queen takes b1. That's a problem. But he did open up this idea of queen c6 with this move. That's a crazy, tricky idea there. He has rook b8. Does he get anything for it? No, it's just a bluff. Okay. Nice way to end in terms of mate. Okay. I thought maybe he made something happen there at the last second. Turns out it was just a bluff. All right. Well, we're going to take a very quick break. Round 2 will begin shortly. The stakes are only getting higher. Naroditsky, Sevian, Firouzja, and Sargsyan have moved on in our little mini 8-player bracket to get into the big bracket, the 16-player one of the Speed Chess Championship. So don't go anywhere, everybody. We will be back in just a few minutes. And as most of the crowd watches and wonders, this chess show must be what it's like to have ADD. We continue to move on here in the Speed Chess Championship Qualifier. Robert, are you now focused? Do you feel like you're on the same page with me here?
I'm definitely on the same page with you, and I'm wondering how the players feel because now they're warmed up, right? They just got
for
that.
Sure. Now,
What?
Let me clarify again for everybody the format, especially as now we have a moment to take a breath. The games will be staggered at a slightly different pace here in the second round of things. But essentially, the idea of this format was to try our hand at placing a little bit more emphasis in blitz rather than bullet. Hence the fact that the truth is, if you move into the bullet portion tied 2-2, let's say each player wins a blitz game, Robert, like we just saw Naroditsky and Tang do, there really isn't any advantage earned or any real difference between the format that you see in front of you, the scoring system we're trying today, and what you're used to. I think what it does is it places an emphasis on that second blitz game for the person who lost the first, because it allows for a more decisive game, right, in the sense that you really don't want to fall down 4-0, so you're even more motivated to get a win in that second matchup. Otherwise, I think what you're looking at is really just what we're used to seeing here, a lot of blitz and a lot of bullet, and all of it counts. But our goal was to maybe put a little bit more emphasis on the blitz syllable of the match. Robert, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because if you lose that first blitz game, you're down 2-0. And if you lose the second blitz game as well, you're down 4-0, which means you have to win all 4 bullet games just to tie the match up.
Right.
And, it kind of emphasizes that you shouldn't go on tilt, because when you lose that first bullet game, if you lose it, you don't have to win at all costs. This isn't what's going on here, because you have 4 bullet games to catch up with. So you need to go +2 in the bullet. And I think that with our semifinal matchups here, Firouzja with Sean Sargsyan, and here we see that Naroditsky and Sevian are underway, I don't think we'll see the tilt happen. But I know that Naroditsky in particular is a player who he can be in danger of going until G4. I played this many times.
I was going to say, are you saying you've seen Danya lose his proverbial bleep on camera before?
I think I've caused it.
Shut your mouth. Nonsense. By the way, did you pay for his medical bills when you broke his hand?
You mean when he broke his own hand? Don't blame me for that. He just
very good.
He punched the table.
That's right. That's right.
And by the way, I played this with White many times in Blitz. It's terrible for White, because look at your structure here. You went G4, G5, and it's like, oh, let me hope I get an attack. What attack are you possibly going to get here? You're down like 4 tempi in development. Black can play for D5. So right now, you can even play move like Bishop E6 to go D5. You can play F6 at some moments, open up the F file for you. I think that what White has done is not realistic. I think it's hopeful attacking chess that doesn't actually.
And you know what I think? I'm going to presume to make a suggestion in terms of what was going on here. I think that sometimes when you're moving back and forth between blitz and bullet, you kind of lose yourself in the moment of what openings are more effective in a given time control, right? So Naroditsky just is high off of the adrenaline from just beating Andrew Tang in the bullet portion of the first round, and perhaps he's still thinking bullet openings, because this sort of like crazy renegade G-pawn followed by maybe some sort of unsound attack on the king side is a little bit more apt to how you would play bullet, not how you would play blitz against a very strong American grandmaster, Sam Sevian, right? So I think that might have been a little bit of the hangover from the previous round for this sort of dubious opening choice.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually now the position is getting really interesting, because the knight on e6 is an awkward piece. Look at that knight on e6 right now. Where's it going? D4 covered, F4 covered. It doesn't really want to go back to C7 or G7 where it came from.
Right.
So I actually am starting to like White's position more and more. And right now is a critical moment. If I am Naroditsky, I'm like, how do I actually launch this attack forward? Do I get an attack, or do I transition into an endgame perhaps, an eventual knight to D5, offering a queen trade, claiming that White has more space and a better position?
Well, what would you do and why? Just so we can give that instruction to the fans.
I think I would play knight H2 here, and after bishop takes E2, take with my king.
Ooh.
Connecting my rooks, saying, please feel free to chop off my pawn on G5 twice, because now you've opened the G and H files and a thematic attack for White. You've only sacrificed 1 pawn, but the rooks have nice lanes to initiate a big attack.
That's a great point. And honestly, I think that with the queens on the board, that idea makes a lot more sense, right? Because obviously there's still the potential that you open up and get the lady involved over here as well. So maybe this is the kind of thing Naroditsky's thinking about. I would also say that, okay, he ends up going rook g1. I would say it probably doesn't make sense to trade queens immediately if at the end of a line like that, Black ends up just opening up the f-file, for example, and then suddenly there's other issues on f3 and f2. So I liked your idea. Naroditsky settles on rook g1. Now what's Sevian going to do? He tucks the bishop back, but where's the plan coming now for Black? Now you have to be careful because you want to take with the rook to keep the f-file open, but that really invites the potential for tactics at some point, as well as opens up the g5 square for business.
Yep.
But if you take with the f-pawn, now your idea of moving the knight on c3 and going to the endgame makes a lot more sense because Black doesn't have the f-file.
Yeah, absolutely. He goes knight d5 immediately.
Yeah.
And just take back here, knight d2, exactly. King takes. His e4 square is available for his knight. If you go what? He just hung a pawn.
Yep, he did.
Yep.
And that happens sometimes in Blitz when good grandmasters go wrong, caught on camera. The point is, rook e8 was one of those instinctive moves you play because you just look at the king on e2 and assume you're the one with tactical cards, completely neglecting your opponent's obvious response is just a fork of f6 and d6, and Sevian looks like he's going down here in game one.
Yeah, and if knight takes b7, there's rook d7 trapping that knight. So be careful.
Don't get too greedy. Okay, he backs up the knight, but that was interesting. So where did that really go wrong for Sevian if we're putting, the analysis hat on and letting Bobby Hess do some dumb, I almost said construction. You can do construction on the chessboard. So if you were calling things out back on move 11 here, for example, saying this is just a dubious position for white, you've got this extended g-pawn, no real attack, where do you think Sevian went wrong? Was it the start of this move knight e6 maybe that wasn't as good? Would you have played for bishop e6 and d5 instead? What would you have done?
I would have consider various options. One was queen d7 instead of putting my queen on a5, just keeping the queens on the board in a very solid way. That just looked like a nice developing move.
Okay.
And maybe play for a6 and b5 to get some play on the queen side, something like that. And there are various options there. But trading the queens off, I think he didn't realize how easy it would be for white to play.
Right.
And look at the position we have now.
Well, and that's what happened. The queens came off the board, and suddenly what was sort of a dubious kingside launching ends up just being nice open space, and Black is actually the one with a much worse pawn structure, which of course, as you can see there in the live game now, everyone just led to white being up a pawn and in good shape. Okay.
So, yeah, his rook h3. I was like, wait, why can't you just go rook d to e8 and hit the e3 pawn? But rook h3 simultaneously protects the e. Okay, pushes it. He's got no fear. Makes sense. And the d4 square, great. Enjoy your square. My knight's going to f6, and you're going to be upset about it.
Pirate Bay Child, if the knight took on b7, rook d7 trapped that knight and it was running out of squares. That we explained that quickly. That was the reason. You can back up and check it out. If you're following the games, by the way, at chess.com, chess.com/live, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to follow our version here. Sam Sevian and Naroditsky have instantly rematched their game after Danya got the first one, and the next matchup has also just begun. Firouzja is now playing... Wait. Yes, Firouzja is now playing...
There's also no increment in this game between Naroditsky and Sevian. So I'm wondering if they challenge each other to 3-minute flat without... Because it does a 1-second increment.
I think Firouzja is also playing without increment, and the game was just aborted. Perhaps they realized it. Yeah,
the Naroditsky-Sevian game also does not have increment.
It did have increment to start.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. So, it looks like they challenged each other to the wrong format. We're letting the players know, LOL, snaps.
It didn't affect the first game because...
well, frankly, because Sevian just got crushed. But we will inform the players that they have challenged each other to the wrong time control. You see what happens when you let grandmasters make decisions, Robert?
Well, it's just, when I challenge anybody on the internet, I'm not challenging with increment, right? When I'm playing Blitz, I'm losing on time 80% of the time.
I know. We've been meaning to talk about that, actually. Firouzja game has been aborted and restarted. They are now playing with increment. The game between Sevian and Naroditsky is going to be allowed to continue. I'm being told mainly because their first one was played without increment, and so they're letting them play the second one at this point. All's fair in chess and war, apparently.
They say that chess is war, right?
But you know what? That depends on your perspective, right? Chess could also be a very complicated negotiation toward peace. All right, we've got Firouzja with an obstacled bishop advantage, I dare say, when it comes to evaluating that black has a lot more potentially weak light squares. I like the rook coming to d1. I like using the a-file, but now black is going to try to orchestrate a d4 push, something like bishop c5 check and d4. So who's better here, Robert?
Yeah, this d4 push is really bothering me, and that's why I went queen e3 to stop it. But can I just go queen? He goes queen c6, so he answered before I can finish my question. But I think maybe white's going to try queen h3 or queen f3. That's smart.
Yeah.
I say queen h3 to attack the f5 pawn, but e6 regardless. So the queen on f3 still stops this plan of pawn on d4 for the time being because the queen on c6 is hanging. And how are you actually going to make it happen? I'm going to play d3 as white at the right moment and say, well, I'm going to actually challenge your queen side before you can push through.
I love that. And before he does so, he puts the rook on d1. Again, kind of overprotecting the threat of d4 right now, everyone. As Robert pointed out, this pawn is pinned to the queen on c6. So he's overprotecting that square, and I think Robert's idea of b3 at some point to try to undermine these light squares is why we look at this position with a little more of an advantage to white in the future, because this king is much more potentially open on these diagonals than white's king on h1. So, all right, this game still has a little bit more time to go, and that's partly because we're watching an incrementless matchup between Naroditsky and Sam Sevian over here. We've got an isolated pawn and a position that if I had to choose, first instinct says I would take white's chances, but the more I look at it, maybe there's more awkwardness to all of these pieces, these knights on c3 and e2 than first meets the eye. Robert, what are your thoughts?
Knight c6 looks really devastating for white to deal with.
Actually, yeah, and the point is that knight c6 unleashes a threat like rook takes e2, getting 2 knights for the rook.
Yep.
In fact, Naroditsky finds this move. And how do you deal with it? Because you can't really safely move your knight from e2. Then black takes on d4 and just wins a piece for free on c3.
Yep. I think all your pieces are kind of protecting each other, but because they're all under attack, you're going to lose something. Because bishop takes c3 is another threat, knight takes b4 is a threat, rook takes e2, and I don't see a move that protects all of them. So I'm out of options. I don't know.
So maybe this last move we saw, queen g5, was really a big mistake, right? White needed to take some time to overprotect this situation. He plays queen to g5, and immediately, this is a very counterintuitive retreat, but Robert found it even before Naroditsky did. So, you know, hey, pays to be good at chess, apparently.
Every now and then, but yeah, and look at Sevian. He's in a deep think, and he's probably just going to lose the clock.
He's about to be down on the clock, along with down on material.
Yeah,
if this knight moves, you're just losing a piece for free.
$3.99, my favorite price.
Hey, $3.99. No matter how many times you multiply free, still free.
If rook takes e2 is a free knight.
Or queen
takes e2 free knight.
Okay, now you're picking flavors, right? You can play things like rook e5. Okay, I said it before he played it. Somebody can look at the milliseconds and see I was right. Now here comes rook takes h5. The f3 pawn's hanging. Naroditsky is in fine form, ladies and gentlemen. Don't play knight e5 because that would have blundered the rook on c8.
Yep.
But he's converting. Sevian is losing on time, wishing he remembered that increment was part of the format. But too late. Too little too late. We move on.
Yeah. And we have this other game here between Firouzja and Sargsyan, and this looks great for Firouzja now.
Naroditsky's going to... Sorry, based on the scoring format, everybody, Naroditsky will take a 4-0 commanding lead into the bullet portion. So Sevian is literally up against the wall, has to start winning games quickly. I don't know. Did the D-pawn looks good?
Yeah, the D-pawn looks good, but rook a6, like aren't a rook a7, one of these moves, aren't I just annoying your queen over there? So if you go d3 as black, well, you know, you got a pass pawn, a connected pass pawn, but king safety is so important, especially with opposite colored bishops. And look at this, bishop d1. And once my queen moves, my bishop can go to f3 at the right moment, perhaps. And
I'd like to take on b4 and get a couple of pawns rolling, but
I'm going to get you on that 7th rank.
You'd love that, wouldn't you? You'd love to get me on that 7th rank. Did you see our meme yesterday we shared? Bill Lumberg saying, yeah, I'm going to need you to get your rooks off my 7th rank.
Nope, didn't see it. Should I have seen it?
Pay more attention to the Chess.com Twitter account, Robert. All right. Well,
so here, what, rook b7 or rook b6 to b7, something like that. Just double the rooks on the 7th rank and attack the b5 pawn. I'm liking it. I'm telling you, I'm liking White's position here. I think the pawn structure might collapse in the queen side of Black. So right now, rook b6. Can you go rook b8? I guess it's the only way to try to defend. But I still think you have ideas of rook to b7 or queen to c6. And although the pawn d3 looks menacing and the bishop on d1 looks awkward, and the back rank could potentially become an issue for White, I don't think it's in time. And look at Firouzja go here. Oh, now your bishop takes b4 move might be good, though. You might have blundered bishop takes b4. Because if the queens get traded, Danny, that pawn just pushes. Oh, he found it. Sevian finds bishop takes b4. And I don't think White can afford to trade queens, so move like queen b6.
Yeah.
Really nice move there.
I told you that tactic was coming, those 2 pawns.
Yep. And Firouzja is very lucky it doesn't work out for more than just an interesting position for Sargsyan, because now the c4 pawn is still quite weak. And rook c6 picks up that pawn immediately. So I think White is still getting the better of this position, but it was a very close call there. And how do you defend? Because queen d3 is with rook d8. That looks like a nice counterattack. Can you... rook c7 played. Oh, so queen a4. Whoa! What a defensive technique. And
1 second, he barely moves, living off the increment.
Rook d7. Oh, I don't know about that. I like rook d7.
Watch out for queen f2. Oh, but the 7th rank, and it's over. Wow. You called the 7th rank as a problem. You know what? You were right.
I just, I saw it open. I was worrying.
Yep. You call it like it is, as they say. All right. Well, as Naroditsky and Sevian wait to start the bullet portion, we focus here fully on the matchup between Firouzja and Sargsyan, which is not necessarily must-win territory now for Sargsyan, but pretty close.
Yes.
And all right, Firouzja continuing to get his way. He was the most dominant in the first round, as you can see there, based on the score. Well, I guess that's almost not true. Sevian really destroyed Andreikin, but only one player went 8-0 in the first round, and that was Firouzja, if you're just joining us.
Yep. Firouzja has not even drawn a single game yet. But right now, Sargsyan taking a pretty safe approach in this QGD, because Black is going to be left with an isolated pawn on d5. Or if you try to do something different as Black, and let's say you play c4, you end up with a lot of weak squares on the queen side. So right now, bishop d3 attacks the h7 pawn, a nice tempo move. And if you're Black here, you just have to play, say, am I going to play h6 or g6? That's the essential question. So knight d2 blocks the check right now. I think you should play it very quickly. If you're Sargsyan, you can play queen c3, but I'm not really trying to trade queens if I'm White.
I want to keep the queens on the board, but maybe I'm biased.
No, I'm totally with you. Knight d2 looks good, right? Just keep the queens on.
I love Diamond member Pino724 in the Chess TV chat saying, Firouzja, it's too fast. We should give everybody else increment and not him. That's an interesting question of a new variant we can have. Speaking of questions, let's remind everybody, we got some responses to the daily question, which was, which segment would you like to see added to the Speed Chess Championship? We used to have Fisher Random. Maybe we bring that back, or Hyperbullet. Let's see what our answer was for us here on Twitter. Use the hashtag SpeedChess. I feel like Fisher Random is a much better test of chess skills. Hyperbullet is almost not even chess. I don't disagree, and I don't think Robert Hess would disagree either. Thank you, Drew NGS, for speaking truth, buddy. A rare thing on Twitter. Keep it going.
I completely agree with Drew.
Yep.
So.
Golden Star responds in Chess TV chat, Hyperbullet. I think, to each his own, right? But I'm with Drew on that. I think Fisher Random needs to make a comeback.
Ooh, I know it needs to open up right here. D takes c5, put a knight on d4. Just plug a pony on the d4 square. It looks very nice for White.
Yeah, it's so funny because d takes c5 is a weird move to play, to double your c-pawns and open up the bishop on f6, but that positional outpost for the knight would make up for all of it.
Yeah, so it very well might happen. I don't think he'll do it just because it looks really awkward. So he'll play rook b2, rook b1, pile of pressure on b7 first. But if you play c takes d4 as black, you really might want to consider knight takes d4 back as white. It seems counterintuitive to leave yourself with isolated pawns, but the knight on d4 is so strong. We'll see how this game develops. I like Sean Sargsyan's position. He's up 30 plus seconds on the clock. Looking good.
This move rook b2 was also very patient. It wasn't your dc5 plan, but the idea of doubling on the b file with that backward b pawn it's pretty hard to stop, actually, for Firouzja, right? How do you just deal with rook a to b1 coming? Okay, you put a pawn on, I put Freudian slip. You put a bishop on c6, but it might as well be a pawn, right? That's how you deal with it, but that bishop is not a happy camper.
Yeah, and for white right now, there's a big question. Do you play knight e5, allowing black to take you on e5, which doubles your pawns, but may allow your king to slide into d4 in the future?
Eventually,
and claim, as you said, the bishop on c6 is a big pawn. Or do you play for e4? I'm just not really sure how you get e4 in because it takes a bit of time as the on c6 and the pawn d5.
The other idea is to play, okay, he plays rook a2, which feels like a high-class waiting move, I guess. But the other idea is to play for h4 and even h5 at some point if you're trying to play both sides of the board, open up and pry for more pawn weaknesses if you can create the open h file. Okay, h4 is likely met by h5 from black, right, to stop this, but that's another way to poke, I guess.
Can you explain rook a2 to me? I really don't get it.
We hire you to explain things like that, dude. You're supposed to say, ah, yes, what a genius grandmaster move. Because only I, the grandmaster, can explain that.
It might be so smart that I have literally no idea what the purpose was. Like, I don't get it. Like, you put your rook on an awkward second-rank square. Maybe in some variation, the rooks protecting each other is important. I just am not seeing it. I don't really understand it.
You got to give Firouzja some credit for how quickly he's dealing with this relocation by Sargsyan to come to f4, which would have targeted d5. Quickly plays g5. Okay, so e4 was chosen. Now, the risk of that for white is if you don't get anything for opening up this position, you've removed the d5 weakness and open up the position for the bishop pair. But okay, I do like white still, right? The b file is coming. Now you're regretting that move rook a2.
Yeah. So he puts it back on a1. And for black, you're considering, do I play b5 and try to play for the pawn to b4? But it looks a bit risky to do that, especially because after en passant on b6, the white rook lands on a6, causing a lot of trouble in the 6th rank. So b5, b4 is one of those typical ideas to play against the c3, d4 pawn structure, but you're not getting away with it just yet.
Yeah, and you look at the clock, you can tell Firouzja is not sure of the right defensive approach. Chooses to sit tight. But now he's really going to be groveling in the time scramble. Is bishop d5 not a very good place for that piece? Hit c4, keep an eye on b7, and then even open up the e4 square. I don't know. I liked it.
F4. I was not expecting f4 because that feels like it creates a lot of vulnerabilities on white's king side. Like,
yeah, I don't like f4. And now a5 is a target?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't even know what to say because I feel like Sargsyan is kind of letting this slip. You can play rook b5 to guard a5 and hit g5, but I felt like white should have continued to play tight there. He should have played bishop d5. He should have not tried to play f4. Yeah,
I agree, because I was going to say we typically speak of the principle of two weaknesses, but by playing f4, you create weaknesses in white's position, not really in black's. Now, black's should play h5, h4, rook h8, use the h file. And yes, white is up a pawn, so we can't dismiss that. But, I like bishop f5 more than bishop b7, but either way, still seems reasonable. And
well, I think both are going to be met by rook b6 here. If I was white, I'd play rook b6 in a heartbeat.
Ooh, rook b6, and then I guess bishop b5 is the response, because e2
that's right. I forgot e2 is hanging at the end of those lines. That's a problem, and so is the time pressure. Suddenly, Sargsyan has completely opened the door here. Maybe play d5 here, sack the exchange on b5, and try to bring the knight into d4? I don't know.
And d5, you have rook e4. That's a great move, Danny.
Oh, he does it, actually. He finds this your idea, rook e4.
Oh, you said d5, so you opened up
I wanted this idea, the knight to come to d4. And now maybe you can go for rook b6 still at some point. Very nice approach there to wiggle your way in on the light squares.
Yep. You got to keep the bishops on, otherwise the knight's coming to f5, and that's going to be too painful.
Now bishop c2 is the threat. Watch out. Okay, he defends it, but bishop b5 check.
But
does it work? Oh, the rook was guarded by the bishop, so it didn't even do anything.
Yeah, they both missed rook takes b5. Now, all of a sudden, black's pieces look great here.
Yeah, rook takes b5 was the move he missed. Firouzja's going to win. He's going to take the 4-0 lead. I think at this point it's just a matter of...
Knight takes h6, just take that pawn.
Yeah, it's been hanging. Finally takes it.
Okay, but d7 protected, so...
Yeah, and there's actually a threat of rook c6 check now, followed by mating net ideas. You have to be very careful.
I think Firouzja might... plays on, he might try to make a draw here, but he instead goes for it. And I'm not sure who's better, because black has these two passed pawns, but they're a bit slower. But you got to like black, I guess.
Yeah, the problem for white is, how do you... Oh, that's how you get in. He wants g5 check and then weird stuff, but after king g6, what's the follow-up? I got nothing.
None. There is none.
There's nothing.
King f8.
And the checks are over, and with it, time runs out. Wow. Okay. I don't feel like that was the result we were supposed to have, but it is the result we apparently deserve. Firouzja takes a 4-0 lead as they head into bullet, and that was crazy. Definitely the most critical moment was the one we caught after bishop b5 check. It looks like Sargsyan missed rook takes b5 as the last opportunity there. Backing up a little bit. Just a little bit. Sorry, I had to go full Robert De Niro. I couldn't miss the opportunity. Rook takes b5 was the move.
Yeah.
If rook e2, you take c5, and if takes the rook, you win the rook. So this was the move that Sargsyan missed. Arguably, the most concrete chance to win the game was right here. Rook takes b5. Okay, he only had 3.9 seconds, so we'll forgive him on this one, but just this once. Well,
Danny, you were right during the game that Firouzja played really stubborn defense.
Yeah.
And he deserves a ton of credit because most players would have collapsed immediately. He was playing tricky chess. He sacrificed the pawn here. He got his chances, and, well, he kind of duked out that victory.
No, he totally did. Definitely gets the credit for being resourceful, making it tricky, and keeping the dream alive. Let's keep the events that we're covering here on Chess.com in front of everybody's eyes. Remind everybody that after today, really the attention shifts for the entire month of August. Most of our attention will be in St. Louis, starting with the Rapid and Blitz and then eventually the Singfield Cup. There are other events sprinkled around it, including the Junior Speed Chess Championship Final. That's kind of a big deal, happening on Saturday. Then we've got the Pro Chess League Summer Series also running, but a lot to mark your calendars about, a lot of reasons to hit that purple follow button. If for some chess-forsaken reason you still haven't done that, don't make Hess come after you. He does things like that. So, Robert?
Yes?
We have two players heading into bullet with 4-0 advantages. Naroditsky and Firouzja, the matchup that many predicted as what we would see in the final. Feels like they're inching their way there. We're going to see if Sevian can do anything to stop it in bullet right now.
All right, well, we got Naroditsky with the white side playing this b3 first move.
Hey, and they've got increment going now.
They do.
Hey, so good for them.
They've learned how to do it.
They learned how to do it. Yep. All right, well.
Sorry, go ahead.
Naroditsky going half Nakamura here. Right?
Well, you never go full Naka.
Yeah, never go full Naka. He's gone half Naka with the awkward Nimzo Larson, Fianchetto, whatever attack. Look at h5, saying I don't even care about a5.
Well, you might care about it. Maybe you should care about it. But in the bullet game, you can't spend too much time thinking about it. And right now, with this pawn to h5, the good news is you control the g4 square and even set up sacrifices on that square. Yep. But the bad news is in some position, the pawn h5 is strayed too far and can become a vulnerability. So d4, I mean, I like the control of the dark squares, but white is up a pawn. So put bishop back, get that wandering bishop back into the game, back towards the center, then play a4, play a5, play a6, and push that a pawn. And you can also play bishop g5, right? Well, you can still play bishop g5, but I wouldn't do that because f6 and g5 for black. So look at Sevian go. He needs to win every single game. So it's not like he has the luxury of just playing safe, playing for equality, and he's up a lot of time with the black pieces in this game.
Yeah, he's in full must-win mode right now. In theory, not even a draw keeps him alive, right? So this is what we got with this Blitz double point format. These guys are literally up against the wall, and Sevian's playing like it all in on an attack. And looks like he needs to get all in on his Wi-Fi there, right? Stop paying for that cheap DSL stuff and upgrade to cable right there. I don't know why I even said that, but it's true. No, okay, look at the 2-bar connection. That's not healthy.
Nope. And that's not good. You're down by 4 points here, and you need to win all your games, and your connection is lagging. That's a big problem.
Yeah, looks like he's back to a healthy connection right now, but his position has gone backwards. And I see the A pawn about to run.
Yeah, A5, just push it.
Push it, baby.
So
G5. I like that. Doesn't even matter if it works.
I like E5 as responsive.
I don't even take F4. Do something.
Well, you got to do something before you lose on time. But that was a classic move, E5, because you give up your E pawn to open up your bishop in the white squares. Bishop D5 check now. Play G5.
Probably G5, and you're going to mate on H5. Uh-oh.
Play F5 here. Oh, okay. F5 is also good. E takes F4, only move. All right, he didn't do it.
He doesn't see it, and now he's going to have 2 pawns coming at him. Uh-oh. F7's on the board on the next move, and after the rook takes, queen takes H5 is lights out, and with it, Naroditsky punches his ticket into the final. They continue to play, but he's pretty much clinched. He has clinched mathematically. I'm not good at math, but with 3 games left and a 5-game lead, pretty sure this one's in the books.
Danya is playing like a total boss right now. And you have to wonder how that bodes for Alireza. We have to presume that Alireza will win the match. He's up 4-0 in his. So unless he loses all 4 bullet games, he will be playing Naroditsky in the final. And I wonder if Naroditsky is heating up the right moment, because in the first match against Tang, that was a very close affair where Tang almost survived it and took out Naroditsky. And in fact, Naroditsky was in some trouble.
Yep.
But now that Naroditsky, he's warmed up, he's beating Sam Sevian, one of the top 50 strongest players in the world. Nice to see if you're a Naroditsky fan.
Well, I don't even know what else to say. Naroditsky is in fine form. You said it all. Like you mentioned, probably the closest game he's had, or the worst game he had, was that first game he lost to Tang. And honestly, if he hadn't taken that pawn on B7 that you and I talked about, he probably wins that one too. So Naroditsky has been in fine form today, and unfortunately for the rest of the field, that could spell disaster. But the bullet games continue here, I believe, until all have been played. I don't know if there's cash on the line. I think we're going to see these guys play before we see if Firouzja punches his ticket into the finals as well. Yeah,
well, Firouzja just needs one single draw in this 4 games, so he is the huge favorite. And Naroditsky, I wonder if he just wants to win all his games. He wants to show everybody that not only is he going to win, he's going to dominate. And okay, well, speaking of domination, Black's position looks excellent here. You're up a pawn, the king side, and there's some temptation, at least for me, to go G4 and try to keep pushing. But after G4, you open up Bishop H4. So you have to be a little bit careful for Black. And he plays Bishop F7, the calm move. I like that. I think it's safe. Now he can play rook to E8, solidify, coordinate, consolidate, and just play.
But give Sevian credit, right? I mean, look at the way he's. I mean, now I would like White's position. If I had to choose, unfortunately, the match situation doesn't really change. But okay, maybe not so much after F3, but.
Yeah, looks like Black is trying to go rook F4 and just take off all the 4th rank pawns.
Uh-oh. You called it. King
take
to G8.
E4. Don't take G4 because rook takes F8 check would be a problem.
Okay, he takes E4. Yeah, rook takes G4 would have allowed rook takes F8. But still, now the problem is there's just no threats here for Sevian. I mean, he just keeps taking pawns. Okay.
Uh-oh. Bishop H6.
Now we've got a threat.
You have to take on F8. You have to take on F8, take the rook. So Naroditsky did this out of desperation.
Whoa, he finds queen F5 and queen E6?
Wait, rook G1 check. After bishop G1, queen G2, queen E2 is mate.
Oh, he missed it. Queen F5 allowed a force mate. We'll show you here in a second. Oh, he finds it the second time around. We don't need to show you. Oh, my gosh. Naroditsky puts it away with that victory. Pulling it up, trying to find it. Got a lot of tabs open here. Bishop takes G1 would have run into Queen G2 and Queen E2 mate. The mate that he missed the first time Queen F5 was played. Right here, he had that opportunity, but not a mate he was going to miss the second time around. So, okay, if Sevian plays your move with Rook takes F8 and Queen takes G4, he's probably winning. But for some reason, he wanted more. I mean, this is a very tough position for Black. Up a piece and the dark squares being open for business. So strange that Sevian just didn't go for that. Pretty straightforward idea there.
I wonder if he just overlooked it.
Yeah, just didn't see it.
Clearly, this is not his match. He's down 6-0 to Naroditsky, and yeah, it's tough.
He's trying to put up the donut egg and show Alireza that he's not the only person capable of a clean sweep. As you can see, if you're just joining us, Alireza made his way into the second round with a perfect 8-0 score. Get your donut emotes out. Do we have a donut emote? I know we got Bagel Boy over here. How many bagels you had today, buddy?
0. Precisely
okay.
None.
Okay. Well, why?
Because, Chess.com wasn't buying me a bagel. So
when we had the World Championship here, it was yogurt parfait and bagels for you every morning. Don't tell everybody I didn't take care of you.
You did.
But I'm going to start actually Uber Eatsing bagels to your house. I got to text you for your Addy. I think I have it.
You also made a nice bullseye breakfast for me too.
That's right. I made bullseye is when you put you open up the egg in the bread and you kind of cook the egg right there in the bread. Put some butter on the bread. You flip it. It was one of my mom's specialties. I loved me a bullseye. Made it for Hess every day.
Isn't that called Toad in the Hole?
It's called a bullseye.
Definitely did not make it for me every day. You made it for me one time.
No, it's called a bullseye. Maybe I don't know where you're from, Oren. That Florida. What do they do in Florida? They misname they miscount votes and misname bread egg sandwiches, right?
Okay, so ChessBase says Toad in the Hole if it's toast.
If it's toast, well, okay.
If it's a bagel, it's a bullseye.
If it's a bagel, it's a bullseye. No, we called it a bullseye on the West Coast here in my family. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to throw Florida under the bus there, but Florida had it coming.
Florida's been under the bus for years.
All right. Well, we've got Game 7 going here. Shout out to our premium members using those donut emotes in the Chess TV chat. For once, Chess TV has an emote that maybe Twitch doesn't, right? Take note.
Well, what is happening in this game, by the way?
I don't know. We've got 7th rank problems. 2nd rank problems, actually.
Oh, Rook G2 check? Is there just king? No.
No, if you take, I take the rook first. Yeah, this is just over.
No, you take on E3, D8 is the D8 square is under attack.
Oh, if you take E3, there's rook D8 and then Queen F8 mate.
Oh gosh.
What in the world? And Sevian has no time to figure it out.
Wow.
He goes for it, but what's the follow-up, dude?
He's got to take the bishop, I guess. His rook D8's just, this is just not crushed.
Knight G3, he gets Queen E4 with check, and with that, Naroditsky gets one step closer to the perfect 8-0 sweep. He is putting on a show right now, worthy of Firouzja, the man enjoying his break. Right after this is over, the games between Alireza and Sargsyan will start instantly. So, literally, if you blink, you'll miss it, right? Don't go anywhere.
That game was ridiculous. I thought Black was completely winning, and the next thing you know, Naroditsky wins again.
Yeah. That was crazy. I assumed with the queen falling with check and the rook falling with check and the queen on G2, but F7 pawns, right? That's a problem.
Yep.
Okay, we've seen this structure used a few times now by Naroditsky. Black has the bishop pair to compensate for the weak pawns. I don't know. Wait, bishop takes H2 check was coming if the queen moved.
This just looks great for Black.
This position looks fantastic for Black.
2 bishops.
2 bishops.
Not even down a pawn.
Not even down a pawn.
So it looks pretty good to me.
Looks pretty good to me.
I'm glad you're copying that.
All right. Rook G. I don't know why I found that funny. My maturity level is dropping as the week goes on. That's too many chess shows, Robert.
I'm with you. Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
Too many chess shows as the week goes on.
Remember that show where I copied you for a minute and you didn't get it?
No, I got it. I was just not
You were just
acknowledging.
playing along. That was funny. I remember that time. I feel like a little brother. Hey, Robert, remember that time? Remember that time when we were playing in the yard and Mom was like, "Come in, remember, big brother." All right. Shout out to the sub there. Thank you, Chess Bay, for the gift, and shout out to everybody who's with us. Remind you, with your support, all these things are possible. So if you're having a good time, you deserve it.
You know, I'm pretty shocked that it's 7-0 for Nerdisky. Sevian is a beast.
Yeah. Well, you said it happens with a little bit of tilt, right? A little bit of tilt goes a long way in these formats. So
It's just shocking to me, you know. Just rook f8 here. I would trade off that rook. Maybe he's not going to do it, but rook f8 just to get any of White's threats out of the way. And then
2 bishops. Fantastic. This position is about to move us into the 8-0 territory that Narodisky covets, trying to catch up with Firouzja, who has just started his game. Their match underway. If you're going to see a comeback, it starts now, right?
Look at that mate!
Oh, that was sick! Oh my gosh, we'll back up and show it in just a second. But Naroditsky's about to finish the JOB anyway. 2 bishops and up on the clock. This one's over. All right, Robert, which position do you want to show? Queen.
Oh my gosh, the queen takes g4 check.
Just nasty. That's how you do it. You sack a queen, force your way in, Vin Diesel style. I don't know why I used the Vin Diesel reference, because Hobbs and Shaw was on the brain. That's awesome.
If
Queen
you
sack.
only
That's
had
not
a
even a
brain.
Botez gambit. That's like a legit queen sacrifice, right? Not one of those things that she stole and tried to claim was real. You know.
That was nuts.
That was nuts.
Well, we have Firouzja and Sam Sevian battling it out right now.
Yep. Let's focus there.
Firouzja has the white pieces. He's got the better center. Let's see how Shant can play this one. Actually, black position isn't so bad because since all of the rooks are traded off the board, it's not like white can take as easy advantage of the space. Imagine if the queen's were off, how are you going to take advantage of having more space? It becomes symbolic. And when d5 for black is consideration here.
He does it. He hears you, and he loves it.
Because if you play e5 for white, then you just shut down the position. All of a sudden, black with more space. Bishop f8 comes, hitting the b4 pawn.
Yeah, and here come. Okay, you had to play queen b1 because queen d3 was on the docket. You can even play. Okay, I thought you could play knight e7 there if you wanted to relocate, but this is even better because b4 is falling.
What about g3 here? Just kick the knight away from protecting the d5 pawn.
If I get full greedy and take h3.
You take h3, I take d5. I'm happy to do that.
You would. Okay, knight d3.
Yeah,
the problem is this knight on c6 going to be pinned at the end after bishop takes. How does white gang up on the pinned knight?
Yeah, it doesn't really look like there's an easy way to do it. But maybe just play knight d2. I like that. So if you trade on d2, the knight goes to b3 and into c5.
He plays knight d8. This was the smart thing. The problem is he has to win right now as black.
Yeah.
So where are those chances?
They don't exist.
The only advantage he has is on the clock. And with increment, it's not nearly what it would normally be.
I don't know how black can even sniff winning chances here. Black might lose this game, honestly.
Yeah.
e6, protected pass pawn.
And then d5 is weak. The problem is...
Yeah, but then knight fd4 or king d4 for it, something like this. Knight fd4, just put the knight on c6.
Yeah, nice. And here it comes. There's no way to stop it. If I have to put my knight on d8, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a very passive position. Okay, knight c6 check.
The one shot he has is watch out if there's ideas on the dark squares. Bishop coming to e1, backdoor, but okay, highly unlikely. Yeah. He goes for it. King e2 will kick it out.
Knight a6. Oh, knight a6 would have won the pawn.
Okay, but he's got the match if he draws, and with that, he punches his way into the finals. So not the most thrilling way to do it, but that's perhaps maturity there from Alireza, right? Saying, look, I'll let Naroditsky have this one. He may have danced his way into the finals with 8-0. I'm not going to do that, but I will see him there anyway.
Yep.
These two guys, I mean, this is like, I feel like right now we're almost biding time until this matchup goes down. So.
Oh my God, everyone's been waiting for Naroditsky versus Firouzja because after yesterday's qualifier event, they were playing Blitz games, I'm pretty sure. They're always playing Blitz games. After Arena Kings, on Monday when they finished first and second place with a tie score in the Arena Kings playoff. They were playing for fun afterwards. So these two have a long history, and I'm not sure who's the favorite.
And correct me if I'm mistaken, but since Firouzja did not make it to the final in JSCC, this is his only other shot this year to get in.
He's either make it in right now or next year with the opportunity. Now, lucky for Firouzja, he's a young guy. And he'll certainly have more opportunities to compete in the Junior Speed Chess Championship. But no, this is it. So,
yep.
And as we said, Firouzja unhappy. Firouzja want more.
And Firouzja's, the guy is just, he gave up a draw because it clinched him the match, not because his opponent was going to make a draw at that point. So Firouzja is just half a point so far. And here with the black pieces in this game, which honestly I barely looked at because I was thinking about the Naroditsky-Firouzja final that we're about to see. And, well, the bishop on g7 is a monster. The bishop on g2 would love a new lease on life if you could put the pawn on f4 and play e5. But
you can't.
Just move the bishop away from f4. The knight on e5 will get into d3. Ooh,
uh-oh. Okay. That's an undefended knight on c3.
Rook d3.
Followed by...
Knight f3. I don't like that.
Yeah, not enough. He makes the patient decision. Knight f3 check probably would have just been a big trade and a way to help White's bishop pair find coordination.
Yeah. I would love to trade the dark square bishops from black because, whoa, nice. Look at that. If you take on d3, I take over with my knight and then go b takes a2 and get a queen over there. So this is...
Yeah, he's just cleaning up. Gets the b pawn. This is a Firouzja world, and I am a Firouzja girl or boy, whatever you call it, right? We are living in a Firouzja world.
Rook b1 check, knight g4 check, knight takes f2 check, and you just take everything.
Save some room for later, Augustus. Man.
You're more Veronica.
I am. I would turn violet.
Oh, no.
Okay, knight takes e4, wins another pawn, and he finds it, followed by dirty things on g3, knight takes, and rook b3. I'll take it. No, doesn't work. Don't do it. He makes the more mature decision. Okay, well, these two guys are they're destined to throw down here in just a few moments. So if you're just joining us right now, it feels like a bit of this is like the calm before the storm, okay, right? We know what's coming. Might as well just sit here and take a breath because Naroditsky-Firouzja is really going to be where it's at in just a few minutes. Remind everybody, that's the format we've had today if you're just getting here. Quarterfinal and semifinal matchups had us with a 2-game blitz portion followed by 4 games of bullet. The finals going to be even more chess. 4 games of blitz, still with the 2-point spread in regards to victories, right? Still a lot of emphasis being placed on decisive chess to really, really take a commanding lead. And then, of course, we'll have 8 games of bullet. So I think that'll be interesting, right? I mean, we probably would consider Firouzja the favorite in bullet, maybe? Maybe?
I don't know about that.
I don't know. That's why I said, my voice gets high when I'm unsure. Maybe?
Yep. I think they have about the same bullet rating these days.
Yeah.
I don't say this very often, and I hate it because it's a cliche. I honestly think it's a complete and utter toss-up, and it's really dependent on the day.
Yeah.
These two, I want to look up their head-to-head record.
Oh, here you go. Look at Robert Hess doing some research. There we go. We're gonna bring that to you here pretty soon, and you can see the all-time record between any players. You just go to their Chess.com profile, and those stats are saved, right?
Don't worry, I'm doing it now.
He's all over it. The Firouzja game versus Sargsyan now, still interesting, although, as we've said, not relevant in terms of the match. Firouzja already moving on into the finals with this commanding performance here. That's right. And remind everybody what's on the table in regards to cash money. You know what's cool about this dance is when you bob slow but make fast hand movements, it feels like an optical illusion. $500 for first and entry into the SCC, right? That's really what it's all about. Even just to get your I was about to say something really inappropriate by Nakamura. You're still going to walk away with a lot of money and an opportunity that only really the world's elite can claim, having played in a Speed Chess Championship. So that's the big prize, right? A lot of cash money waiting just to face Hikaru in the first round. But also a few honeys on the line right now just for these top 4. We know Sam Sevian is walking away likely with that 4th place finish. Actually, he is, since Sargsyan's already on the board. So Sargsyan will likely take the 3rd place money. Naroditsky and Alireza will be battling out for 1st and 2nd in the next round. So don't go anywhere.
Holy! Did you see what Simon just told us?
What's that?
In Bullet, Naroditsky has won 1,475 games. Oh, that's combined total. Okay, but the combined total for Naroditsky against Firouzja is 1,475 wins for Naroditsky, 1,443 losses, and 233 draws. How have they played each other that many times?
I was just about to say, they're making some good life decisions in terms of where they're spending their time. I'm sure their parents are happy, right? A lot of hours on Chess.com. Good idea, kids. But seriously, that's a lot of chess. That's just their games against each other, right? I mean, that's like...
how is that possible?
It's a lot of chess games, dude. I'm sure that I don't know. But that's also a very, very close record, too, overall. I mean, especially if you consider that and I'm guessing here, but if you were to do the math in terms of just the last, let's say, 6 months to a year, it might also be a little bit closer to being equal or in Alireza's favor, because we know that Firouzja has been spending a lot of hours on Chess.com since he was about 11 years old. I'm sure he lost to Naroditsky many times before he kind of pushed himself into this elite status that he now has, which is above the 2,700 mark in terms of over-the-board chess, Robert. So I'm guessing that if you looked at the more recent results, Firouzja probably has a plus record. And again, they don't pay me enough to actually go in and prove the things I say is right, but I'm going to say it. That's what I think.
That's just nuts.
All right. Well, Firouzja's going to probably win this one via some sort of wicked time scramble. It's going to be wicked Jack down there.
Wicked Jack, Bob. D5 to protect the pawn. Then bring a rook.
He tries to trick him there with the G pawn running, but run, right? C7 followed by King C6. You got to play King B7, but then King D6, and you walk to D7, and that's a problem.
No, but King D6 is Bishop A5. Actually, I think you saved it.
King D6, Bishop A5, and I can't even take G3. That would be a skewer. Look at that. Getting real awkward up in this. You can just play King B8, though, and you're already in the right corner. If you don't know this endgame, everybody, it's a draw because the king is in the opposite color corner of the bishop. The king can sit on a light square while the bishop dances between squares like A7 and B8, and there's always protection for mate. So, again, if you're wondering how to draw this, you hear sometimes strong chess players say that this is an easy draw. It's only an easy draw if you reach the corner that Sargsyan has. Now, of course, he can even play Bishop A7, and there you see the problem is stalemate. So, okay. One more game being played before we have our last break of the day and the final we've all been waiting for, right? Last game of the year, Dan. Can't hold anything back now.
I'm shocked there's still a game left here. I was like, it's been so dominating for Firouzja that I'm surprised there's still chess left to be played. But I'm sure Sean Sargsyan's enjoying the challenge of playing Firouzja, the newly minted 2,700 player.
Yep. And
for Firouzja, he's just, he's going to put, I wonder how nervous he is, because we know, Danny, you know better than anyone, how badly Firouzja wants to be in the SEC.
Yep.
Right? When he lost that match to Wei Yi in the JSCC, he was fuming. He was really disappointed in himself. And he wants this to play the very best in the world. He wants to play Hikaru Nakamura's, the MVLs, all these top guys in the SEC.
Well, and I'll say this, Hikaru, who will be joining us for the championship coverage of the JSCC on Saturday, everyone, I can tell you that if Hikaru had to pick his first-round matchup, he probably doesn't want it to be Alireza Firouzja. I mean, right? That's somebody who he would say is legit worthy potentially of an upset, especially if it's a combo day of a great one for Firouzja and a bad one for Hikaru. Those things can happen. I would still, frankly, put Hikaru as a heavy favorite in any long match where both players have a lot of time to kind of feel out the other. Okay, but regardless of that, it's not out of the question to say Firouzja could pull an upset over anybody in the main bracket. I don't want to share too much of the private conversations we have with these players, but I can definitely say that Robert is right that of all the players who have expressed that they feel they should have been invited into the main SEC, Firouzja has let his feelings be known to me. So we'll say that. And we'll say that we're going to take a very, very quick break here before the final goes down. Firouzja gets his way into the matchup we've all been waiting for versus Daniil Naroditsky. So it all comes down to this. One of these guys is going to go dancing into the big bracket, the bracket of 16, the SCC, the big cheese, the big dance, the big show. We'll be right back. And we are back here getting set for the final matchup of today's final Speed Chess Championship Qualifier. If you need a quick refresher in terms of what's at stake for these players, we've got all the prizes that I've already described many times with the very, very coordinated movements. You can tell I've done that before. Cash on the line, but really the biggest prize is that both of these guys are eyeing that coveted spot and an opportunity to play in the Speed Chess Championship. So the finals that you are about to see will be 4 games of Blitz, so we'll have plenty of time to see these guys throwing down, and the slightly more instructive time control that really brings out the best in my partner here, Robert Hess, before the 8 games of Bullet, right? Robert, I mean, I think you teach your best chess in 3 minutes.
Trying to think of something to say that wouldn't offend you, but so I'll say I agree.
Okay, I love it. Well, thank you to everybody that's here. Reminder, of course, that with you, all of these shows are possible. The biggest events in chess happen right here. Before the games get underway, let's remind everybody, if we can, what our schedule is here in August. As we said, today is the final SCC qualifier. Coming up this weekend, our coverage shifts to St. Louis with the Rapid and Blitz, followed, of course, by the Junior Speed Chess Championship. It is going to be a great Saturday. Robert's going to be holding down the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. Me and Hikaru are going to jump in and do the Junior Speed Chess Championship coverage. Robert, did you even know that you were doing the St. Louis coverage on Saturday? Did I just tell you that?
I mean, you inform me of things I'm doing all the time, but this one I actually knew.
I already talked to your mom about it. The schedule's clear. We're good. Don't even worry about it. You're going to have a great Saturday, buddy.
It's already on my Google Calendar.
Okay. Once it's on Google Calendar, you can't take it back. My wife reminds me of that all the time. Like, stop scheduling chess shows where you already see that we have an appointment. I'm like, it's not my fault. Never mind. Anyway, going to be a lot of fun this August. We appreciate all your support. We've seen a lot of premium members in the Chess TV chat today, a lot of subscribers in Twitch. With you, all these things are possible. We love you and appreciate you. By the way, we will also have an interview with today's player. I've just been informed by my producer here that the winner, whether it is Alireza or Danya, will be joining us here. Probably, I guess I would say in about 45 minutes is when we will see them here. So, Robert, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm definitely ready, and we have double the games in this final, so that means the winner needs a score of, 8.5 points, I think?
That's right. 8.5 points is that's the benchmark, right?
Yep.
First person to 8.5 points is going to be moving on to the SCC. Hikaru watching this. Wait, ring, 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 ring. Oh, he's right here. Hey, man, what's going on? Oh, you're on a Colorado mountaintop right now. That's super cool. We're all living vicariously through you. What? Wait, you don't want to face Alireza. You'd rather face Danya. Neither's really a matchup for you, right? Oh, dude, that's so funny, dude. Hey, you be careful on those mountains. You don't slip. Love you. Love you. Bye-bye.
That was an amazing fake phone call.
Okay, we continue. Hikaru will be with me on Saturday in person. What do we got here, Robert? We've got a King's Indian attack that I appreciate and love.
Yeah, this Queen B3, Queen C2 maneuver is interesting because you actually force the knight out from D7 to C5.
Yeah, which was B4. That's right.
Which gives Black a tempo in a way because the knight has become more advanced. But White's arguing that the knight on C5 actually isn't so great there, which I disagree with. But I like the knight there. But he plays E4, which is thematic, and he's trying to gain space in the center. And the bishop on G2 is staring down a brick wall of pawns from B7 to D5. So if he can chisel out that pawn structure, he'll be a little bit happy. So I would take on D5 right now.
Okay.
Give my bishop on G2 more life.
What about maintaining the tension with some sort of plan to eventually get E5? I mean, you could play E5 now, but Black will just back up the bishop, and then you can't play D4 because of the knight. I would love you know me, I got mate on the brain. I want to make a shift. If I can get the pawn structure to be D4 and E5 and open things toward the king side, that's kind of traditionally where I'm looking to play in a King's Indian attack, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. The thing is, the knight E6 is so strong in that dynamic because we're going to play pawn E5 and then pawn D4.
Let's analyze that to show everybody what we're talking about in terms of why E5 wasn't on the table here. The reason is that if E5 had come and the bishop retreats, there's no D4 to follow up because Black can just eliminate the knight on F3 and then win not only D4 but then the E5 pawn with it. So the biggest issue here is that even if my pawn structure fantasy is what we'd like, it wasn't possible. And 92 did prepare e5, by the way. I think that's what Danya wanted, but Alireza plays bishop c5, avoiding this tempo. e5 would now probably run into something on d4, maybe even a move like pawn d4 just to separate these two pawns, right?
Yeah. I mean, knight g5 is a good move to kick that blockading piece out the way, and also to try to develop the bishop on c1 in one go. And right now for Alireza, knight takes e6 is a threat, removing the defender of the bishop on c5. So you have to be vigilant about that.
But Danya still has this idea, right? So, okay, I wanted it with e5. It didn't work. But clearly he's maintaining this pawn structure with the hope that at some point he launches things into a kingside attack here with whether that's f4 or something. Okay, how does he deal with this? Bishops hanging, knights are hanging. I mean, okay, I like this decision because I think it's the only way you eventually get f4 is to eliminate that dark square bishop. But your thoughts, Robert? You're being too silent here. I need you to talk to make me feel secure.
I'm trying to evaluate that decision right there because I thought that Neradisky was going to take on d4, just trade knights there and try to kick this bishop from g4 with pawn to h3 maneuvers. But instead, he decided to take this bishop on c5.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you should have done this and then like the bishop moves and play king h2 to try to get f4. I actually like that.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was looking into. And now we have this dynamic, which I still think is pretty pleasant for black because in the long term, if I could, well, that's why he doesn't allow bishop takes f3 now. If I could have taken on f3, I would clog the dark squares. I would have a knight against a not so great bishop because if you look at that bishop on g2, even if you get e5 in for white, the bishop is staring at a brick wall of the pawn on c6. So
yeah,
right now
go ahead. I was just showing that dynamic on the board there in terms of what black's threat was to take here, and that's why Neradisky played the move knight to d4. Okay, but now this endgame is one of those weird ones where you've got the 3-on-2 advantage for black long term, right? It's an easier route to a pass pawn in theory, but white's going to get f4 here. And as long as there's pieces fighting over the center, you have to like white's chances. So
f4, I guess black's idea is to go rook f to d8 and claim the rook on c5 is a bit awkwardly placed because you can't just put a rook on d1 as you walk right into a pin. And so the pawn a2 is also hanging in many of these variations. So if you take on e6, which you just did, look at this dynamic. Bishop on g2 against a knight on g6. The knight looks like it's not doing much for now, but as we always talk about, knights can go from color to color, which means they can attack both color complexes. And now look, rook d3 came. Rook f to d8 is coming next. The knight on g6 can sit there for a while. If you ever go f5, you free up the e5 square for my knight. I might play e5 myself right now to say, look at your bishop on g2. It's a big pawn.
I think e5 may have been the move that the doctor ordered, to be honest. Okay, Neradisky gets e5 himself, and Firouzja's going to try to use the d5 square. But maybe your move e5 was even better to really keep that pawn on e4 and that bishop stuck.
But this also looks really, really nice for black here. I mean, just take on c2, play g5, cement.
Oh, I love your move g5. I love that move. That isolates the e5 pawn. g5, and when the f pawn is gone, look for this pony to come right back to g6 and target the e pawn.
So similar idea.
Why is he not going for it?
Because he just wanted to keep the pawn f4 as a second weakness. Playing pawn to g5, you have one weakness, is pawn e5. He's trying to claim that f4 is a permanent weakness, and then e5 I can always cement because your rook on f2 is very passive. If you move rook somewhere else in the second rank, your rook kind of needs to stay in the second rank, otherwise rook d2 will happen. And now g5 can be played anyway. So he can play g5 right now. He probably should play g5 right now and do the same exact thing we were talking about earlier. But I guess Alireza is trying to be perfect. He's being a little bit of a perfectionist.
Trying to be patient, too. I mean, maybe he feels like he has the better time scramble skills, right? This is gonna come down to the increment here either way because despite our talks of black's advantage, both sides will get under time pressure for sure. Now look at these pawns, Robert. Stuck to light squares. We've got new problems if you're not careful.
Yeah, this is actually, I really don't like what Alireza has done.
I don't like it either. And now look, he's forcing the king up. He's going to be all in on the chances of the f-pawn compensating for the light squares. Is Neradisky going to go for it? I thought he might have gone king c5 there at the last second. He doesn't. I thought we might have seen the crazy scramble.
I thought king c5 was good, honestly. I think maybe white could have played for more. But considering how that game was going, a draw feels like a victory, a moral victory in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree. That I'm sitting here trying to think whether king c5 had more chances for white or for black. But in the time scramble, I guess that Naroditsky decides, hey, I was worse. I'll settle on the half point, and we continue. Both sides get 1 point for the draw. Let's remind everybody of the scoring format we've set up here. A dynamic we're trying for the first time. You know, we like to try new things here at Chess.com, and you know, sometimes they're your favorite, sometimes you hate it. I get it. I love the feedback. It keeps me up at night. Just no worries. Don't worry about my health. You keep telling me how much you hate things. Love it. Anyway, we've got a format of 2 points for a victory and 1 point for a draw, with the goal in mind that we emphasis on the Blitz syllable to the Blitz matters in a way that it kind of does in the traditional SEC format, Robert, right? You've got a lot of 5-minute games, a lot of 3-minute games, and then a half-an-hour bullet. So we were kind of looking at this mini bracket today of 8 players and saying, how do we emphasize Blitz? One way we do that is make them worth double the points and give a draw 1. And where that really changes things is if somebody goes into the bullet down, they're even more under the gun to mount a comeback. Just like if somebody went into the bullet portion of the main SEC down, right? You know, the pressure's on. So anyway, that was the goal. Let us know your feedback. Jokes aside, we love hearing it. You can get at us on the Twitter sphere. As ChessBase said, that's pretty much the only reliable way to get a hold of me. Tweet at me. Hit me up.
Sure. I've been texting you. I've been messaging you on Slack.
Yeah.
I've been messaging you on all forms of social media, but only Twitter gets your attention.
Twitter. Right? You got my tweets, my digits.
Your digits?
My digits on tweets.
I got a question for you, Danny.
Shoot.
This position right now.
Yep.
How many times have you played this from the white side and be like, I love my position, but I can't find a way to break through it, actually get more than
my gosh. You are like, seriously? You just like crawled inside my head. That is always how I feel. I expect back to play h5, although here you don't even have to because the e4 square is open for business. This is one of those positions that is so frustrating too, because when you analyze with a computer, they support your belief that white should just be better, right? But playing these positions and converting on your space advantage as white is very difficult at times. So maybe Alireza can give us a lesson in terms of how he approaches this one.
Yeah, and this move c5 by black, right? You're saying, okay, on one hand, I want to take on c5 for white and give myself the d4 square. But if I take on c5, the knight from d7, which is quite a passive piece, gets in the game. And if black plays c4, you're relying on the fact that you can play b3 at some point and break open the queen side. And what if black does nothing? Or what if black castles?
Yeah.
Is white just going to go to g4 and f5? I think so.
I think you have to.
Yeah, castling doesn't look like a very good option either.
I think white's playing for g4 and f5 regardless of whether black castles.
I agree. And you can set it up. If black does, let's say black did nothing in particular, you could put g3, king g2, then g4. Here I'm liking knight b5 as well. Put my knight into d6.
Yeah.
Give me that d6 square.
So this actually has been a pretty. I mean, we said maybe Alireza can teach us a lesson, and to be honest, I think he's showing a good approach from white. One of the difficulties in this structure for black is that this pawn chain can never really change to open up space on the king side with f6 without g6 and e6 of instantly becoming real problems. So white can sit on this space advantage for as long as he likes, and then at some point maybe try to play for g4 and f5, right?
Yeah, g4 it's still an option here for white. So I mean, I guess the black knight's coming to e4, which probably makes white a little bit nervous because once that knight gets to e4, there's some vulnerable squares. But I think g4 makes perfect sense. You're just blasting open the king side. And he plays b3.
Kicks the knight first. He must have some follow-up because I don't like that idea. Now e4 is even more of an issue because c3 is weaker. You might wish you could have that pawn back to b2.
I guess there's some knight a7 tricks. Like if you have knight e4 to have knight a7 and your rook is nowhere to go.
Ah.
Yeah, knight a7. Bam.
Knight a7 and he's winning material. Okay, he doesn't go for it. The threat here is super funny, but knight a7 hits the rook, and the only square that would be safe is c7, and then white could have won the knight. So did he just miss that?
He did. He definitely did. But he's going to play c4 anyway.
Let me analyze that and show everybody real quick, because this move knight a7 is a find. I sometimes call those computer finds, Robert, because computers have taught us to look for counterintuitive weird moves like that, right? And the rook is under attack, and white would have just won the exchange here. The rook has no safe squares other than c7, but that would lose even more. So it looks like Alireza just missed a huge chance to win material.
Yeah, now all of a sudden black is actually improving the position. h4 here. Put your knight on g3. Try to go your knight to f5. That's really the key to black's position, is stopping white from playing g4.
Yep.
And if you put a pony on f5, especially with the d7 knight could get there,
man.
You'd be thrilled.
Oh, man. That would be, yeah. Okay, it's very unrealistic, or at least a long journey to get there, right? But look, he's bringing the other knight to f5, and this knight comes to e4. So he finds a way to solve your problem, Robert, but does it with the opposite knights. Look at this.
But the reason I don't like this as much is bishop takes c5, rook's there, knight fd4. You might end up, after resolving so many of your issues, you still might end up in a not so great bishop against a beautiful knight on b5.
So riddle me this, Batman.
Yep.
When am I sacrificing the exchange on e4? And this is going to help me in my games. Like, seriously, I want to know, like, when that knight comes to e4, when am I sacrificing the exchange?
Well, you might not need to anymore, because you could play knight d6 instead of his move rook to e3.
Okay.
But it's a good question. Actually, there are many times. Oh, my God.
Whoa.
That was a terrible.
I think
that was a terrible move.
Okay, now I want to sack the exchange on g3.
Yeah, rook to e3 coming, for sure.
Open up the king.
Right away, probably.
Okay.
Actually, why didn't he take on g3 right away?
Yeah, why didn't he? Back to the analysis cave. After g5, why did we not take on g3? We get one pawn for the exchange, followed by two, and a huge attack on the king. I think that was the much more accurate approach. Okay, but it doesn't matter. He's going to convert. Anyway, the point here, everybody. Okay, now he's just got two minors for the rook. It's over. Let's show what would have happened if you had taken g3 and played bishop g5. Among other things, white has h4. And white's attack is just completely crushing with the pins. So, okay, Alireza is about to take a lead in this match, and we have liftoff.
Honestly, I didn't like Danya's approach in this game. I think the opening, the way it went, was really bad for him. It made white's life very easy.
Yep.
Knight takes c6. Knight takes c6 is winning an exchange.
Game over. Red Rover. Oh,
okay.
he goes for... Let's just show. Knight takes e6 was a fork, and you can't take it because of a pin. Dual chance to use some emotes in the chat if you're into it. Fork and pin.
Yep.
All right. This is just a matter of technique now. Firouzja doing work, and he's going to have the lead, a 3-1 lead it will be after this next victory with the scoring system we have for today. 2 points, of course, for every victory earned in Blitz. So, okay. Elaborate a little more. I didn't mean to cut you off, because I want to hear what you're thinking strategically. Like, why is Danya choosing these basically dubious openings, right, against a 2,700 Grandmaster and Blitz legend like Firouzja? What's the psychological strategy he's got going on?
I don't know of their exact head-to-head records in recent weeks, recent days, really, because they play each other so much. But I'm definitely not a fan of playing such a... It's solid in a sense, where we're talking about how it's frustrating for white, where you know you're better. If you turn an engine on, which we don't have on, which the players don't have on, you're like, okay, it says it's much better for white, but there's no clear breakthrough. And every time you try to make a breakthrough, there's some clear concession you make that doesn't look so good. But by doing that, you also forever cramp yourself, and it's just hard to play that way. I don't know. I have a bad score against both these guys, so it's hard for me to really comment, but I just don't like, in general, giving yourself that kind of position, even though I do it all the time. I'm like, I always do it, and I'm like, why did I do this? I should have played something a little bit more ambitious.
Right.
But, I mean, he's amazing. So I think he came in with a game plan. He thought that he could outmaneuver Firouzja over the long term. Firouzja said, not so fast. Even though it was not a perfect game, by no means was it a perfect game, he tried. And here, look at this position, right? It's a Berlin. Where white has the better pawn structure, white has the more active pieces, but black is very, very, very solid here. You can play h5. He just did that to stop g4. Because what white really wants to play g4, gain more space, and the point of time is on white's side. Here, rook a to d1, black will play bishop e6, probably.
He goes for it. Okay, or bishop f5. I mean, this is the Berlin we've seen played more times than most people would like at the highest levels of chess, but the basic imbalance is pretty clear. You've got white with a healthier 4-on-3, but you've got black No idea what happened there. You've got White with a healthy 4-on-3 and Black trying to close down the potential to use it. I don't know, but now the c2 pawn's hanging with a tempo on the rook, but I'm going to guess that that's not something you want to take. Yeah, bishop c2, rook d2, and then b7 falls. Okay, so...
Yeah. And the rook coming to d7 is very scary. Pawn e6 is a thematic pawn sacrifice. Or if there's no bishop on f5, it's a thematic move. So if Black plays b6, knight a6 is also annoying.
Okay, he goes for it. He's going to allow knight a6. But, okay, knight a6, the rook comes to c8. Where's the next follow-up? Maybe just something like c3 or c4 and try to sit tight with your bind?
Yep. There's also an idea... No, it doesn't work. I'll say there's an idea with rook c4, and if you're c5, you try to play b4. You just try to open up the file, but I'm not sure it's any good.
I like it.
I guess if a rook c4, you can also just play knight e7 back.
Okay, yeah, that would close everything
No concessions.
Down. Knight e7 and Black gives nothing. One of the funny things about the Berlin structure is just how useful the pawns are, right? They're doubled, and objectively you're thinking, well, my advantage must be to take advantage of them. But usually White either wins in the Berlin because of something on the king side with the 4-on-3, or goes home, because the double pawns are very useful. They guard a lot of squares, keep a lot of pieces at bay, and they can actually slowly inch their way up at times.
Yep. And an idea to keep in mind is knight e7 is a huge blunder because of knight takes c7 check and then rook d8 checkmate.
Let me show it. Can I show it?
Absolutely.
I want to show it. Okay, knight e7 would be a huge blunder. You heard it here first, not from Robert, because of knight takes c7 check, followed by checkmate on d8. Robert, that's a cool tactic I just showed you, right?
Yep. Thank you for informing me of that tactic. I didn't see it, but you told me.
Diamond member Palm Race in the Chess TV chat saying that Danya has to win this position. Not exactly yet. Mathematically, even a loss here does not put him out of opportunities to win this match. But yeah, because the Blitz games are worth double, you really don't want to go down 5-1.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially not against someone like Alireza. B4 is a good move because look at that knight going from a6. Oh my gosh, the d5 square is juicy.
I want it. I put a pony on it.
Knight c7 check is still at the right. You're knight e7.
Knight e7 would be okay. Again, we're only highlighting it because it's a instructive tactic. But stranger things have happened.
Stranger Things 3 has happened.
Is happening. Yes.
Whoa! The king is going on a journey. Don't stop believing.
He's trying to get on that midnight train.
Go into the king side?
Yeah, midnight train to the king side. After a6 and b5, one of the funny things about this is now you've got this a7 pawn as the long-term target for White. How do you take advantage of that? You'd love to get your way in for this bishop on e3. And maybe this is how you do it. Bring in the rook to a5. I wonder if Alireza wishes he could have that move back. I like rook a5.
Yeah, just those pawns were so vulnerable there. He went b4 to stop knight c3, because as you said, the a7 pawn was so weak that knight c3 to b5 would have been very frustrating to deal with. But this is less frustrating. I think some kind of rook hd8 maneuver is necessary, but this pawn c5 is just hanging. It's a free pawn. Bishop
e4. If rook hd8 and we take on c5, in the end of those lines, there's things with the knight being pinned to the rook on d2, but okay. Alireza's kind of setting up the same... Oh, he goes for it. I was saying he's setting up the same kind of trap. If takes on c5 and then rook d8, isn't that knight pinned?
No, knight f6 check.
Oh, knight f6 check. Okay.
Maybe go rook c8 here, because if the bishop takes a7, there's rook a8 gaining the a6 pawn.
Okay. But the bishop can go to d6.
But bishop e6, there might be bishop takes d5, knight takes f4 kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And c2 pawn is hanging even immediately. Actually, I think Alireza's done really well. He's so resourceful.
Yeah. Finding all kinds of ways to mix it up. Okay. Naroditsky goes for this. He'll probably bring the bishop back to e3 now and then just settle on the b4 pawn, I think. Bishop comes to e3, guard f4, and then your knight can take.
I really like that. The issue I have is that in the opposite color bishop endgame, there are great drawing chances for black. But if I'm Naroditsky, I want to keep with the clock. Keep the clock. You're up 15 seconds, a little more. Like king h2.
He goes for it. Well, he didn't want the king on h2, I think, because of outside mating net ideas if this knight finds its way into g3.
Yeah, I guess I don't like. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The king is probably better suited. Now knight f5. There's still mating threats with knight g3.
Yeah, actually, this is still very dangerous for Naroditsky, who you've been highlighting was up on the clock, and that is dwindling away.
Now knight g3 for sure. Push that knight in.
Okay, rook to b1. He's trying to be patient. White should probably just play something like knight e1. Ooh, now he has to settle on rook e1. We have to be very careful here. Only 6 seconds. This is coming down to the wire. This could be the biggest game in the match when all is said and done, if Firouzja finds some way to
rook
swindle
d5.
a victory.
Yeah, rook d5 there. Oh, he could have went rook d5 to try to take on d3.
Only 2 seconds. Knight e4 check. Knight e4 check was winning.
Yep.
He missed it.
Yep.
Okay.
He's going to go back to g3.
We'll show that when this game is over, but...
On.
Oh, my... Oh, no, it doesn't matter. He gets the fork on e2.
Oh, no.
Firouzja. Dude, this is why he's so dangerous. Just so nasty with swindles and time pressure.
Check back on d7. Oh, okay.
Okay. Lucky for Naroditsky, it's somehow not totally an easy victory after that horrible fork blunder on e2.
King f5, yeah. It's
okay, never mind. It's getting easier by the move.
Yeah, the bishop on g2 covers
now
the
rook b7. Oh, rook b7, I think, to b3 was... He gets it the second time around. Rook b3. No reason not to enter. Your bishop guards c6. I don't really know what he's waiting for. Now, rook f3. Okay, interesting. He allows the pawn to get to c7. I'm not sure that was...
Yeah, I really don't like allowing the pawn.
Yeah, but I guess it's not going to matter. The queen comes and Naroditsky running out of time. The bishop will defend everything on the light squares.
Yep.
And that's it. OMGs or snaps. Firouzja is tricky. We're going to back up real quick and show some of the tactics there as they get their next game underway. But this was a wild one for the ages. I think that Naroditsky waited too long, honestly, to try to make something happen on the queen side. But there was already a chance to win right here on bishop c3. Firouzja missed this fork of the king and knight, the king and bishop, which would have forced the exchange sack. But he ends up winning the exchange anyway when Naroditsky blunders with king to d4, walking right into knight e2 with the fork. Okay, so what's funny is if the best moves start being played, white is still not in any position to lose this game. Something like knight e1, you guard g2. But, Firouzja gets credit again, and we got to give it where it's due, Robert. We keep saying that, right? He puts himself in position to win these games in the time scrambles. And honestly, he puts his opponents in positions to make blunders, and a lot of times they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. He is very, very resourceful. He's an amazing player. And even when he's in trouble, he plays quickly, and he creates traps for his opponents. And we know that knights are especially tricky with, the less time remaining on the clock, the trickier the knights are.
Not over yet, but yeah, this is really now winner-go-home kind of territory for Naroditsky. He's putting himself up against the gun in bullet if he doesn't win right now. We know he's got the black pieces, and we know he's playing a tough opponent, but this is a huge moment. Let's remind everybody of how this format works. We have a 5-1 lead right now for Alireza because every Blitz game is worth 2 points today. Really pushing these guys to play decisive chess, and especially in the Blitz portion. So Naroditsky has got to get a win here to bring it back within a couple games before they head to bullet.
Yep. And both these players, I just saw someone mention in the chat that they, Eklusa said they stream a lot on Twitch. Check them out sometime. Absolutely. They're streaming all the time here on Twitch. They play each other all the time. They're familiar foes.
If you're one of the 5,000 viewers here who hasn't watched chess yet, hit that purple follow button. Make sure you get alerts in future times when we go live here with Chess on Twitch. All right. Well, if you were looking for a chance to get a position with craziness, right, which is what you want when you need a win, I think Naroditsky has gotten that. This is definitely a weird one where I kind of like black. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess I'm thinking I'm going to get f5 while your king is open, but maybe I'm not going to get that. Robert,
no, you're absolutely right. F5 is actually a pretty annoying threat. So queen e3 might be a good starting point to attack the knight on c5 and say, please take me on d3. And after you take on d3, I can take with my c pawn and sort of fix my pawn structure, improve it. He plays bishop h4, similarly trying to avoid f5 because, well, your queen's under attack, trying to discombobulate your forces. And now if you ever go f5, I'll take with my g pawn and put a rook on g1. So castle queenside here has to be a pretty good move.
Yeah. Oh, well, he goes for your queen e3 the second time around, gaining a tempo on the knight, as Robert said, and hoping for an exchange where white would take with the pawn and kind of reinforce the pawns in the center. b6 is a patient move. Look at Firouzja trying to inchworm his way into these dark squares. I like that move.
Me too. And again, f5 is always met by a g takes f5, rook g.
And it's going to happen. We're going to have liftoff here. I think rook g1 will be played, and then Naroditsky has a big choice. Open it all up and cross your fingers, hope you don't get mated, or play f4, which is really a move you end up always wanting back because you just make your bishop on g7 so bad behind the pawns. So,
yeah, rook g1, this is looking so scary.
Yeah, I think you got to take e4 and hope for the best. I don't even know what...
If you take e4, I can even just take back on e4. That's the problem with black's positions. Not only do I have bishop h6 ideas, which might be good, but bishop h6 is knight f5. So you have to be careful with that. Yeah, he just took back. And if I'm Naroditsky, I'm playing knight f5 right now, I think. Trying to
gain a tempo.
Create threats, protect your king side. Maybe you can take on d3 and play king h8, but that looks scary to me. I don't know.
I like knight f5 because it's, it's an attacking move and a defensive move. Robert's trying to hold this h6 square to prevent things on the pin. So now the knight is helping to protect the king, both by guarding h6 and by overprotecting the bishop on g7. So, in fact, next move, maybe now Naroditsky can look to be aggressive. Things like queen h5, things like queen a4 are also sort of in the air.
There's some kind of knight f6, bishop f6, these kind of ideas you have to watch out for.
Oh, in fact, is that possible right now? No, because the rook can take.
But then there's bishop. Yeah, I was going to say knight f6 check, rook f6, bishop takes f5, and then go bishop h6. But it requires a lot of calculation before you do something like that.
So queen d2 is played. Okay, we get the trade on d3. Why now? I'm not sure.
Well, he didn't want to allow knight takes c5, so he's tucking his king on h8, claiming that the king is safe enough. As this queen a4, your move looks pretty good.
I love it. Get the queen to a4. Okay, he goes to the other side, but you've got to get pieces coordinated. Develop this bishop whether to d7 or b7 so the rook can help. There we go. Okay, Naroditsky, again, up on the clock. This is the one thing he's done well in this match so far, right?
Yeah, and I've been wondering if he can just move his knight away from f5 and attack the h3 pawn. It looks weird because the h3 pawn doesn't look like a pawn you really want to take. But I was thinking that if that knight moved, say, to d6, still you can go knight d6 and then try to eventually attack this h3 pawn. Might be worth something. But now rook takes g7? Does that work? Rook g7, king g7, rook g1.
I want it. Do it. Just take g7 and take e5 and ask questions later. Okay.
Oh, rook g5. Wait, bishop h6.
Bishop h6 wins material on the spot. He's got to find. This is his only chance to hold. He finds it.
He found it.
Oh, rook g5 was a horrible blunder by Firouzja.
Oh, gosh.
The rook now falls with check.
Take that rook.
You got to take it. Now take this rook with check.
Take the other rook and then take on e4 because there's no checkmate. So rook takes f1
how
check.
Crazy is that finish there? Rook takes f1 followed by knight takes e4, and there's no discovered check that works.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Wow, what a blunder by Alireza, but why isn't Naroditsky moving? You always wonder when strong grandmasters don't play quickly that they're... Okay, I'm not sure why he didn't just take e4, but he's still up a rook, so for his efforts.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. This is his approach.
Rook takes e5, just trying to get the pieces off the board. I'm telling you right now, folks, don't go anywhere. Those who saying that this is over, I think you're wrong. I think that this bullet portion is going to have a lot of surprises in store.
Yep.
Okay, we're saying that assuming Naroditsky finishes the job here, as he looks on pace to do. He's up a piece, bishop b1, threatens queen c2. That should be good enough. He doesn't see it. You still have queen g2.
Nice.
Followed by, you've got things like, okay, he just wants to get the queens off the board, trying to play it safe. Now there's threats of knight b5 and queen to b1 mate. If we're showing that final position there, knight b5 would have forced the king back to b2 now that the queen held the fourth rank, and queen b1 would have been mate. So we'll just show it, and that's how You glow it. Chess.com brought to you by SoGlow. We still got 5,000 people here. I say this show is pretty lit. Right?
Yep.
Super neat. You know what else is neat? Bullet portions. Bullet portions. I don't even know what we're doing. Maybe we're taking a break. Maybe we're rolling. I just do what they tell me here. Hey, that was a good – you shut your stream deck over there. Anybody who got that neat reference really is someone after my heart. I don't even think Robert got it.
Sorry, I'm still can't believe that turnaround because we were liking Firouzja's position. We were talking about rook takes G7, and it's the bishop that came back to haunt him.
Well, let's show the blunder that really turned it around. It started right here on move 28 with the rook to G5, missing bishop H6, pinning the rook. Robert was calling for rook takes G7. I was into it. And if knight takes E5 follows it, now we've really got problems if we're black. I think trading on F1 and knight takes E4 isn't as good here, although still weird. But worst case scenario, he would have had queen G2 at the end of that line, Robert. Hitting the knight on E4, there is no queen G6.
But it's queen G5 check.
Yeah, but you get D7 with check at the end of it. You're right. That's not the win.
I didn't want to take on E5. My idea was just to go rook G1 check first.
Okay.
After take on G7, just go rook G1 check.
Yep, I'm showing it.
And I didn't know exactly how to finish the job off, but it felt very scary. Maybe then knight takes E5. I'm not positive, but it looks really good.
Yeah, the queen is also guarding H5, so we have to just look at rook takes E5 and question whether white has enough, right? So
that's rook G5 and just
rook
now
G5
cutting
there. Ooh. There's also moves like queen G3 there, Robert, which maybe even stronger.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Well, I'm with you. Alireza seemed to be in control of the match and the day, but guess what? We have a 2-game lead heading into Bullet. This one is not over. 8 games of Bullet are ahead, or first person to 8.5 points. That's that benchmark. Once you hit 8.5 points, you've won the match. So, Naroditsky would say, don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. And we'll see if he still has a few more tricks to teach this brand new 2700 player, Alireza Firouzja. So,
yeah, I mean, this is a huge game right now. If you're Naroditsky, you have to keep up the momentum. You just scored a really important win from a tough-looking position, and so you need to keep on chugging along here. Look at this. Put knight on D5.
He's like it.
Say, all right,
F4. Just do it. Play F4.
I agree completely, Danny. F4 looks great. Just blast open the F file, try to take on F6 at the right moment. Look at this.
He does it. I like it.
Look at black's terrible development. The bishop on C8, the rook on A8, the knight on D7. They're clogging the queen side. This looks great.
Yep.
So I would just try to take on F4, I guess, if I'm Firouzja, and try to use the E5 square. But
patient move, bishop H4. A nice bullet move, too, because you really make it hard. Now you're in positions where even if G5 happens, your opponent is just opening up their king, and in bullet will likely pay the price.
Yep.
Okay, you could take H4 and meet Queen G4 with Queen G5. So
Queen F3.
Queen F3 hits F7 and threatens Queen F5.
Yep.
And
if you go Queen E7, I go rook A to E1 and just sack my rooks to meet you on the F7 square.
Naroditsky taking his time, wants to make sure he does what Robert said to do. Keep the momentum going.
Here it is. This is already looking really terrible.
I love your point, Robert, that Queen E7 is met by rook A E1. And again, the main point, everybody, is not even because you're trying to win the queen. If you get the queen off, queen takes F7 is mate on H7.
And Queen F8's mate on H7 here.
Owie. That's how you start the comeback, kids. That's how you win the first game of Bullet. And that's how we have a 5-4 match. Whoa. This one's going to come down to the wire. I can feel it. You guys see it? I got goosebumps right now. I'm tingling.
I'm worried for Firouzja because he's such a commanding
I thought you were about to say I'm worried for Arn being alone in that office with that man.
Well, I've been worried for him for a long time. So that's nothing new. But my concern for Firouzja is definitely brand new. He's come close.
Yep.
He was 7 out of 8 yesterday in the Title Tuesday qualifier. He then stumbled and fell. And then in the JSCC, he lost that match to Wei Yi, where a lot of people were predicting him to be the favorite.
Yep.
And now he was up 5-1 over Naroditsky. He's cut to 5-4, and he needs to stop, the downward spiral here. He needs to at least draw this game. But right now, he's got a good position with the white pieces. Look at this: A4. Principle of multiple weaknesses here is that the queen side is a problem for black. You have less space. He's going to play knight to b3, take control of the c5 square. And if I'm black, I would consider f6 trying to go e5.
Okay, he does it. I will say this, though, even though I like this position for Firouzja as well, if you're choosing dubious openings to try to throw off your 2,700 opponent, I like this much better than that other weapon he chose in Blitz, right? Because it's in Aljohan's defense. It's something that's going to be inherently tactical and tricky, and I feel like this is where Naroditsky can thrive a little bit more than those other closed positions.
I definitely agree with you. But what I really don't like, speaking of closed position, is that bishop on a8.
Yeah, that's a big pawn, right?
Yeah.
Stuck behind your friend there.
And just play bishop g3 to stop e5. I think it's okay, he didn't stop it. He allowed it.
Maybe he should have. Maybe he should have. If we get d4, that bishop finds life. I'd play d4 without even thinking about it, but you know me. He does it.
Knight takes e5?
Doesn't matter, dude. I take and play queen d5 and g2. Hello.
So knight e5, bishop e5, rook e5. We trade everything on e5, then queen d5, queen g5.
Yeah, but I'm also hitting the b3 knight.
But then queen d8 check.
What? Stop calculating more than me.
This is what's happening right now.
This is happening. You're out-calculating me in front of all of our friends. All right.
Rook takes. Dang it.
He's going to go. I think we're going to get that exact line you looked at, dude. Seriously. Take queen d5. We're going to see queen g5, guarding g2, and threatening queen d8. Oh, no. Donna's going dancing. Right?
Yeah,
we got a dirty d-file.
He's going dancing on his own. Call Robin when you need her.
Oh, man. LOL. I'll go. I've been dancing by myself since before the song came out.
So did you just bring your knight back to d2 to block
I screwed it up. All right.
Knight d2?
By the way, this is the exact line we talked about, but just don't go full Danny and take the knight. Instead, take the pawn. There you go, not Danya.
Queen f6. Queen f6. Go for the mate.
That's a problem. That is a big problem on g7, and don't know how to stop it. Okay, but now queen h8.
Knight c5 play. Queen h8, queen g7 check, queen takes d7.
Oh, and you take the queen with check.
Yep.
That's how you do work. Let me show it. While they move on to the next game, the point is if the king goes to the dark square, then the knight takes with the check, so there is no new queen. And if the queen goes to the light square, the queen takes with check. And obviously checkmate is following. So very, very nice technique there for Alireza did what you told him he needed to do, right? He stopped the bleeding.
He did, and he got a huge victory there. Wait, what's a knight doing on c8? Sorry, I was looking at the Twitch chat, then I turned, and there's a knight on c8.
It's just a trade, Robert. Calm down. It's just a trade. Okay?
And I got nervous for a second,
we've all been there. All right.
And these double pawn structures, people often hate on double pawns, but these double pawns are actually really good for white because you take up a lot of space.
And they hold the most critical squares on the board, the dark squares, particularly e5. So I'm with you. White plays g3. A lot of times white might try for h4 at some point. The one thing black has is d4. d4 is the move you got to keep your eye on at some point.
Yeah, and the downside of playing d4 is that when white plays c4, this pawn d4 can become a target because the e pawn can't reach the d pawn. We like to protect it. Knight e4 is well timed. He's going to play f5 here. The problem with f5 is white will remove the knight from f3 and play pawn to f.
So instead, Firouzja backs up. Yeah, pushing those f pawns are moves you often wish you could have back. So these guys in bullet, half the time just dancing and trying not to blunder. Knight e5, by the way, you can't take anymore because that would be a fork.
Look at this. He's going in for h5 himself. So you can't play g4 because his pawn takes g4, so it was f3 first. And
now c4. You got to hold the d5 square and not let a knight into e3.
There still might be...
Okay, he does it. But if the knight goes to f5, I think we part ways and then play g4 anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering about knight f5 because you can take on f5 with the bishop and he takes f5. And it look complicated.
I don't know. I'm not liking the time, but I am liking Ooh, wait, f4. I forgot about that.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're walking the king up?
No way. There's no way this...
Go full Nigel Short and bring it to h6, right?
He could have maybe taken on f4 there. That's actually something interesting to think about.
That's what I was thinking we might see.
Rook takes e5.
Rook takes e5, followed by the attack. He takes g4 first. I think he's going to take e5 now. Yep, now the king has nowhere to hide. Knight takes g4. Firouzja doing what he does best.
Firouzja just...
He's about to, we talked about him needing to stop the bleeding. Now we're going to be telling the same thing to Naroditsky in the next round, or we will have a winner very quickly here. Look at this attack.
What boss play by Firouzja.
Dude, this is nuts. G5 is coming. Rook takes H4 might even be on the table. Okay, now I think just
F4 maybe?
Oh, F4 and then G5?
Actually, F4 is pretty risky.
Okay, Naroditsky trying to come up with something less than 10 seconds on the clock.
What's he doing here? King 8. Is he going to bring his king to H5? No way. I was like, can he?
First of all, that would have been awesome. I think he maybe could have done it, but he ends up settling instead on the queen trade.
How many pawns does Black have? Only
too
one
many
extra
is the
pawn?
answer.
Only
too
one
many.
extra. Knight F6. Bring the knight back.
Knight F6. Bring it to E4. Oh, I think that was the better plan. I think you were right.
All right.
Okay, Firouzja has to be careful now, though, because now both sides are getting under time pressure. These pawns should be enough. There's just too many of them.
Yeah. The rook takes C6. Exactly. Look how many pawns there are.
But stranger things have happened. I mean, again, I wish Stranger Things would just sponsor this show so I could keep mentioning them without worrying about it.
F4 check. Oh, F4 check.
F4 check was better. If king took, there was knight G3 with a fork emote. That's what Robert wanted.
This is nasty.
Doesn't matter. He's going to get what he wants anyway. Naroditsky, I can visualize him now, shaking his head, knowing he's down against the down to the wire, up against the wall.
Speed Chess Championship brought to you by Slurpees, Eggo Waffles, and Demogorgons.
Okay, knight D5, I guess, and then go knight B4 check. Wait a second.
Wait, did he just blunder the B pawn?
No, he didn't.
No, he should still be winning. E2 is too much. Oh my gosh, that got real scary. It's over. But look at that.
Yeah.
Naroditsky tries to trick him. Alireza says, "I wrote the book, son. I wrote the book." Okay. Did your dad ever wrote the book you?
Was that English? I don't know.
It's like when you tell a kid who's misbehaving, like, "Hey, don't try to hide it from me. I wrote the book," as if to say, "I've done it. I did it all. You can't trick me," right? Yeah. It's a very demeaning way to discipline your kids, Dad.
I got you now.
All right. Hey. Right now, Firouzja's demeaning Naroditsky on the chessboard.
So Firouzja needs a point and a half more. 1.5 points is all that's needed by Firouzja. And honestly, what a way to turn this around, because Naroditsky had all of the momentum after winning that final Blitz game and winning the first bullet. And now Firouzja's won 2 straight games. Mm-hmm. That was really well played.
The match is over at 8.5 points. So Naroditsky is still in it, right? And we know that streaks happen often, right? In bullet, it's often a game of streaks, and both players going back and forth, winning a few games. But Naroditsky, it's now or never.
And I ain't gonna live forever.
Yep. I've been living on a prayer since.
That's the wrong song.
Okay, darn it.
It's my life.
I know Bon Jovi. Don't correct me. Okay. All right. Bishop A3. What we do have is the bishop pair, and I think this is. Oh, but he just trapped his own rook on A4. LOL.
Wait a second. The bishop takes E7. You take on A4.
I think you could have taken A4. No, he was worried about his knight hanging on D5 at the end of that line. Takes. At some point, white takes on D5, but actually, then black takes D8. I think black could have won the exchange.
Look at Firouzja just did. I think this is pretty similar to what could have happened.
Yeah, he just sacks it.
My bishop on C4 is a beast. Look at that thing. It attacks A6. It puts pressure on F7. The white knight can go to E4 at any moment. Queen A2 here, probably.
Yeah, keep the battery alive. Yep, he does it. Here comes the other knight in. You might even see a party on G5. Bishop D5. Oh, he's just so good.
H4 maybe? Just push that pawn to H4. Try to go H5.
Naroditsky trying to get the queens off. This is smart. That's how you convert on the rook. Get it going on the open file and on the ranks.
Is he trying to go Queen D7? There he goes. F5, knight
I don't know.
G5.
I feel like something's turning around here.
I agree with you. But F5 is a very scary move to play, even because
the knight G5 and all the light squares.
Yep.
Look at this move, Queen F5. Dude, he's switching to the king side. He wants Queen H5 and knight G5. It's
Knight
happening.
G5 now. Oh, it's coming. Queen
Oh,
H3.
my God. I think we're about to see Naroditsky go down. Here, Queen H3.
Knight H7, Queen
And it's
H5
mate. If king takes, Queen H5 is checkmate.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh. Right after winning that game, Firouzja was like...
Did you just go full Shooter McGavin on me?
Shooter McGavin. No. That's what Firouzja just did right there.
Oh,
man.
No.
Right? You're hot, dude. Shake it off. Wow.
Yeah, he just went Taylor Swift on me, too.
I'm here all night, all right? The winner-go-home situation is no longer a cliche. It's literally the position that Naroditsky is in. Even a draw clinches the ticket into the Speed Chess Championship for Alireza Firouzja, something he's been eyeing since I didn't invite him, honestly. So now he's going to find his way in. Hey, you know what? I'm doing him a favor, making him work for it. You're welcome, right?
I mean, he's putting on a show.
He's putting on a show. So he's, and again, Hikaru called me earlier, for those of you who missed it. I don't know that he wants to. I don't know whether he faces Firouzja or the winner of yesterday's. I don't know what the pairings are.
I think Hikaru will play the winner, Alina Danilian, because she won the WSCC, and she must be the lowest seed, right?
No, but I don't think we're doing it that way. I think those two took the 13th and 14th spots. We did it based on how the order they qualified. So, anyway, basically with the goal of trying to make it as competitively balanced as possible, even in the early rounds.
So Firouzja is now up in exchange, but the king's in the center. So if White can create a big attack or quick attack, some kind of attack, I don't see it, but I'm trying to make it happen. I'm willing it into existence.
Okay, put a rook on f1, put the queen on h5. He does the first one. We'll see if he does 95? The second.
Oh, 95, you're going to go bishop f4. You sneaky guy.
Ooh. Yeah, that was my plan.
Oh, that's actually really annoying because then you have queen h5 hitting f7 ideas.
Ooh, he goes for it right away, and there's still bishop f4 coming soon.
Yeah. The bishop f4 now looks good.
Yep, I like it. You can even take e5.
G6.
Oh, g6, what a nice move.
Maybe it doesn't.
Oh, you can take d3 and you guard the queen.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's
man, that is fancy stuff.
My ridiculous tactic fails to your ridiculous tactic.
You know what? That's how I wrote it. Planned it all along.
So knight takes b2.
Okay. Naroditsky does still have chances. So there's queen takes h7, and I don't see a back rank mate right away.
Queen f5. Queen f5.
Queen f5. Oh, dude, that would have been sick. Trying to deflect the rook. You still have queen f2 ideas.
You do, but queen f2, there might be some kind of queen. I don't know. There's some checks that need to be.
Okay, this is where the nerves start to kick in, though. Alireza down on the clock, and he knows the championship is on the line.
Yep, all he needs is a draw here. All he needs is one measly draw. Play f5. Oh, okay.
At some point, Naroditsky's got to handle the back rank, or that's how blunders happen. Okay, you're guarding d1, but watch out for back rank blunders.
Play b3, like you said. Get the back rank under control.
He plays h6, and you know what he wants then? He's gonna go get b4. I think Naroditsky's gonna win this game. I don't think we're gonna see it yet.
Yeah, watch out for rook a7 kind of ideas, though. I mean that. Oh.
Ooh. Queen g8. He finds it.
Yep.
Queen f8 now. Oh, okay. He takes another pawn. I thought queen f8 was best, but this should work as well. You can take on d7.
Oh, did he? He blundered a draw.
No, he didn't. He's got the king c1.
Queen a1 check.
King d1.
Keep checking.
He's got to get out. You're right. I mean, it's either a draw here, or he might even lose on time at this point if he gets swindled. King d3? No.
Just queen f4 check.
This could be it. He just blundered a draw into the championship.
How did Firouzja see that so quickly?
That was fantastic. You got to try to run up to d3. Do something. You're about to repeat the position 3 times. It's going to be a draw. Oh, as if I called it. I did call it.
You did call it.
Firouzja,
yes.
Finally, after years of me trying to invite him into the SEC, he gets there the hard way.
That was unreal.
And he's going to be playing in the round of 16, the biggest, most elite event in online chess. Alireza Firouzja going to be playing with the big boys, and nobody wants to see this young man in the first round. So I don't know how it works. In fact, now that we have that, I'm going to put pressure on my events team behind the scenes to maybe give us a bracket. Tell us how it is while we have the crowd. Let's figure it out. Let's announce it. It can't be that hard.
Announce what?
What's the seedings?
Well, we still need.
No, we know everything. Oh, you're right. Darn it. I want to hype up the matches.
After the 10th.
After this.
On the 10th.
On the 10th. Tune in to the 10th, Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Me and Hikaru Nakamura will have the call for the Junior Speed Chess Championship. Wei Yi versus Jeffrey Zhang. Robert will be there in spirit because he'll have hosted the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz all day earlier. It's going to be quite the day on Saturday, so I just planned your weekend for you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Dude, Firouzja did it. He made it in, finally.
Yeah, he must be so stoked.
Gotta be stoked.
And you know he was taking it seriously because he wasn't streaming today.
That's right. That's right. Chessway reminding everybody, we also have the Arena Kings finals on Friday. Lots of events going on all the time. The what? That's right. We have an event on Friday called the State of Chess.com. This is much more of like something we're going to be trying to do every quarter, an open forum, AMA opportunity for people to ask questions, the tough ones. I will be turning on the camera, taking on all comers. We've got a list of topics, but if you have questions you'd like to bring up, tune in Friday for the State of Chess.com, which will be a new quarterly show brought to you by the only guy with a made-up title at Chess.com, your own chief chess officer, Danny Rensch. That's it.
I was just wondering if you're also going to take on Mike Comer. So you said take on all comers.
Taking on all comers. Hey, I would take on Mike anytime, anywhere. All right. Well, seriously, the congratulations to Firouzja. It's been an amazing day. We're going to have him for an interview. So even if your hope was for Naroditsky, obviously he had a great day today. But stick around. We'll hear what Alireza has to say about finally making it in to the big dance, and we've already got his Speed Chess Championship player profile card ready. You see that? See how quick we are? There you go.
He's looking up. He's looking ready.
Looking up, looking ready. He's going to be playing in the bracket. Going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and there's still 2 more games left in this one. And Naroditsky with the white pieces. Again, he's given Firouzja these double C pawns. Firouzja saying, whatever. I don't mind them. He's going to win the A-pawn now. Danny, looking good for black in this one, too. So Firouzja already locked it up. And in this game, too, it's looking good for him.
May end up being a close score in the end here, but as we know, Firouzja has locked it up with an 8.5-point benchmark reached. He will be playing in the Speed Chess Championship, so pretty exciting.
Yep. So, what now? What do we talk about?
What do you want to talk about? What are you doing for lunch after this?
It's a great question. It's already 2:40.
What's today, Wednesday?
Today is Wednesday.
There you go.
What do you have for lunch?
Jigganut wants some dad jokes. I got plenty.
What are you going to have for lunch?
I don't know. Might just go home and have some leftovers. Shauna made curry last night. You know how I feel about curry.
Love curry.
Delicious.
Do you prefer Steph or Seth, though?
Oh, LOL. I prefer a Penang.
So.
Okay, 97, knight f8. That saves the day.
97, there's probably just queen c7 or something like that, and then push the.
He wants a c-pawn.
Well, if you got he wants to call your pass pawn and raise you a pass double c-pawn.
You can play queen e8 and knight e5 and go for mate on f7. Yeah, I like it. I think that's the right call.
Oh, that looks pretty good, doesn't it?
He finds it, and I think he will finish the job. Okay, no. Firouzja has to back up, but there goes the c-pawn. Plus, there's threats of knight d. No, there isn't threats of knight d7. There is threats of c5. Just lock it up. Lock it up tight.
Oh.
Okay.
That looks good.
Naroditsky working hard to clean this one up. Officially, this is actually the last game. The players have been informed that the match is over. Firouzja knows that he is dancing. He's going dancing into the Sweet 16, known as the Speed Chess Championship. we will have an interview with the man of the hour, Alireza Firouzja. Going to be a good year for this kid. Crosses 2,700, gets to play in his first ever SCC, and we will have him with the tough questions here in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are now joined by the man of the day, the man of the hour. It's been quite a month. You crossed 2,700 for the first time. You qualified for the Speed Chess Championship. And as we were talking about, you took the long road to get there, but you made it. You played in every possible qualifier we had to get into the Speed Chess Championship. And how excited are you to be going dancing here with the 16 of the best players in the world?
Yeah, of course, it's a very good chance for me to show myself there, and I'm very looking forward to it. Of course.
We don't know who you're playing yet because apparently that could change based on the standing of who wins on Saturday between Wei Yi and Jeffrey Zhang. But
Yes.
if you had to pick your first round matchup in the Speed Chess Championship, who would it be? Pick your opponent.
I will go with Wei Yi.
You want Wei Yi? You want revenge? I love that. The game that punched your ticket was this one here, and I have to ask: did you already know it was going to be a perpetual check if White took on D7 and allowed Queen E1, or did you kind of get lucky that the draw was there in the game where you found the perpetual?
Board.
Okay, I'll invite you. I'm sorry, I just realized I can invite you. LOL. There we go. So did you already know that Rook takes D7 was going to be a draw? What?
I didn't get the board.
You should already be there. If you look on, I see you there. Well, you remember the game, right? You remember the position after Rook takes D7 and Queen E1 check? The draw.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Did you already know it was going to be a perpetual, or did you get lucky?
No, I got very lucky.
Okay, I kind of thought that might be the case, but go ahead, Robert.
No, I was like, how did he see that so quickly? It's like a pretty ridiculous perpetual, but it was a really nice find there. And I have to ask you, Alireza, were you nervous? You were up 2 games in the Blitz section. You lost the final game of the Blitz, and then Danya also won the first game of the Bullet. Were you nervous at that point, or did you still feel like you had control over the match?
The way of playing, I think I was playing much better than him in all the games. So I was pretty confident even after the first game of Bullet when I lost. So yeah.
So you felt good. You felt on form today. You felt like you were in good shape.
Yes.
Well, did you do anything to prepare for this besides, I guess, playing in yesterday's Title Tuesday? Anything else special?
I just slept until 30 minutes before the game. So.
That's a good idea. Get some sleep. Well, let me ask you some slightly tougher questions. And obviously, we know you ended up losing to Wei Yi in the Junior Speed Chess Championship match, and now with a few days for that to settle in. What did you learn from that match? And now that you're going to have another try, whether against him or somebody else, the same format, 90 minutes of 5-minute. Right, 60 minutes of 3 minutes, a longer time control than you normally play. So tell us, what did you learn from that match, and what would you do better here the second time around?
Yeah, this way I had lots of winning position, and he was defending well. So when I was not winning those games, then I got very mad at myself. So I should not get mad at myself when I didn't win winning position. So I think this is the key for these matches.
It's just keeping it emotional, keeping a cool head, basically.
Yes. And it's a hard thing to do, of course.
Right. Well, are you going to do anything differently then to maybe help that? Obviously, there's a break between time controls in a way that sometimes can allow players to reflect and remind themselves of that. What are your plans to keep yourself in the best possible frame of mind in the SCC?
It's hard to say. I should just work on myself, I guess.
That's pretty reflective, though. That's good. We all need to work on ourselves. So good job. I agree. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Robert, any other questions here?
Yeah, I guess for all of your fans here, what's your next classical tournament that you're going to play in? Your first tournament with a rating over 2,700.
Yeah, I will play World Cup. There's no other tournaments until World Cup. Yeah.
And do you know who your first round opponent is yet?
I don't think it's published yet.
Gotcha.
Got it. Well, Alireza, obviously you have a lot of fans here at Chess.com. You've just recently launched your own streaming channel on Twitch. Of course, everyone can find him there if you look for this guy throwing down with the best of them. And I will say that of all the players that have ever qualified, meaning they weren't invited to get into the Speed Chess, but they did qualify, I think a lot of people look at you as somebody with maybe the most realistic chance to win the whole thing. And what would you say your chances are to go all the way, even though it took you a while to get in?
It will be a very tough tournament. I should just keep my cool against the strong players, and of course I'm underdog in those matches, so we should see.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and like we said, I think the fans are eager to see what you can do in that format because. Looking at you as somebody with the potential to go all the way, and we wish you the best of luck.
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a good night there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, and there he was, the man of the day, the guy that found his way in and ultimately made me look silly for not inviting him. But, maybe all this experience will pay off. Who knows?
I really do think he's probably learned a lot from that match against Wei Yi because if we all remember, Wei Yi is a GM rated nearly 2730. He is one of the world's best players, and he lost a head-to-head matchup against him. And I think he'll learn from some of his mistakes. He said that he needs to keep his composure better. He can't go on tilt. And so if he gets down against someone like Maxime Vachier-Lagrave or one of these top GMs, he knows that they're all great players. He also knows that he's a great player. So he just keeps cool. He can fight with the best of them.
And there you see the next event that will decide really what rounds out the bracket of 16 will be on Saturday. We will find out who's the better player in this format between Grandmasters Wei Yi and Jeffrey Zhang. As you said, how much has he learned from that matchup with Wei Yi? We see there where he lost 14.5 and 11.5. Time will tell, but maybe in the end that experience will really pay off. So, again, congratulations to Alireza Firouzja, who, as you can see, punched his ticket into the SEC by winning the final matchup over Danya Naroditsky. He's done it. He's in, and I can't wait. I can't wait. So, Mr. Hess, I will bid you adieu.
Why, thank you, Mr. Rensch.
Bonjour is a way you can actually say both hello and goodbye.
I will remember to never take language lessons from you.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
Well, shout out for everyone who is here, all of our mods, all of the support behind the scenes. We appreciate it. The chats were busy. You guys are great. We really do appreciate it, and we hope you're having a fun time following the Chess channel here on Twitch. So, on behalf of Chess.com, my partner, and everybody, we get a little closer to knowing finally who the 16 players will be in the Speed Chess Championship, and we'll see you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.